3 years ago, Zhao Cheng watched helplessly as his sister was taken away after she sacrificed herself to obtain an awakening stone for him. However, that stone caught the eye of a high-ranking manager named Zhao Zhiji, who spent 3 years tormenting Zhao Cheng and searching his room to steal it, yet he found nothing. The clever and handsome protagonist had swallowed the stone long ago, and now that Zhao Cheng has turned 16, he is finally able to harness its power. Upon merging with the stone, he awakened the Eternal Evolution Book, which grants him a formidable new ability every time he increases his level. The following day, he invited his close friend Liu Zi to go monster hunting, while Liu Zi explained the immense difficulty of entering the exotic beast dungeon. Not only must one pay hundreds of item vouchers as an entrance fee, but the guards outside also seize 70% of all spoils. It was not a place where commoners like them could simply wander in, and at that exact moment, Zhao Zhiji appeared with his group of henchmen. Infuriated that he could no longer steal the awakening stone, after learning Zhao Cheng had leveled up, Zhao Zhiji presented the two of them with a proposal. Realizing Zhao Cheng had just awakened, he offered free entry into the dungeon on the condition that every resource they gathered be handed over to his group. Zhao Cheng recognized this trap where they were being used as pawns to scout and gather resources. Yet seeing the opportunity within the danger, he decided to go along, leaving Zhao Zhiji and his men smiling coldly. Inside the dark and freezing dungeon, staying too long would drain one's life force until death, and Zhao Cheng realized they were running out of time. He declared they must act immediately, but as he spoke, a painful scream echoed from afar, startling Liu Zi, who wondered why others were present. Liu Cheng narrowed his eyes and deduced that there was more than one entrance, meaning Zhao Zhiji's group had lured others here as well. They were being used as sacrifices to scout the path and compete for resources, viewed by those men as nothing more than tools for plunder. Liu Zi looked into his friend's eyes with concern, asking if he truly wanted to proceed given the risk of death. But Zhao Cheng clenched his fists with eyes burning with hatred and resolve. He argued that without taking this risk, they would never gain the strength to resist, prompting his friend to ask if he truly intended to challenge the high-level management. Zhao Cheng growled that he had never stopped hating them for even a second, noting that for those at the bottom of society, everyone desires to overthrow the managers who oppress them, asking his friend if he had not yet suffered enough exploitation at their hands. Liu Zi smirked with a flash of satisfaction in his eyes as he patted Zhao Cheng's shoulder, lowering his voice to say he had not misplaced his trust. He then revealed a shocking secret. His father and second uncle were secretly conspiring together in a plot to overthrow the clan. Your assistance in awakening my attribute was very timely. We will recruit more men together and prepare to wipe out those old foxes in one fell swoop. Zhao Cheng was momentarily stunned, asking if Uncle Liu was involved, to which Liu Zijia gritted his teeth with burning rage and asked if he remembered the past. My grandmother was whipped to death by them. She was frail, and those wounds tortured her for half a month in excruciating pain before she finally passed away. The entire clan witnessed it, yet no one dared to speak up. But from that moment on, my father and uncles began harboring thoughts of rebellion. Taking a deep breath with newfound determination, Liu Zijia declared that from this moment forward, Zhao Cheng was no longer merely his subordinate. Instead, he was a brother and a comrade in arms. He then gave a self-deprecating smirk, admitting that he naturally had his own selfish motives as well. He intended to leave this wretched place eventually to find his sister, noting that everyone has their own schemes, even a young master like himself. He paused with a distant gaze, hoping for the day they were overthrown so he could be free with Xiao Yu, while Zhao Cheng nodded in silence. Whether that happens depends on if we make it back alive. The two then continued forward cautiously, their senses heightened and alert. Suddenly, a savage and agonized scream erupted ahead before falling silent, prompting the two to exchange looks and immediately hide to observe. Emerging from the shadows was a mutated creature resembling a wolf, yet its massive frame dwarfed even the most ferocious mutated wolves found outside. Its entire body was a mass of rotting, slimy flesh that reeked of death, looking as if it might crumble in the wind, yet it moved with a menacing grace. A blood-red orb pulsed weakly within its decaying chest, appearing to be a fatal weakness that Zhao Cheng recognized as being similar to an awakening stone. He wondered if the monster possessed elemental powers, while beside him, Liu Zijia couldn't help but shudder at the horrific sight. However, he was even more stunned by Zhao Cheng's eerie composure, thinking the man was a monster for remaining unfazed by such a hideous creature. He truly was the man he had chosen. Once the rotting wolf dragged the carcass out of sight, the two of them cautiously approached the area. Only a mangled pile of flesh and bone remained in a pool of blood, causing Liu Zijia to curse at the tragic sight as nausea welled up in his throat. The victim had been gnawed beyond recognition, yet Zhao Cheng showed no no disgust as he calmly reached into the remains to search for something, prompting Liu Zijia to cry out in shock at what he was doing. Liu Zijia turned pale and shouted about him using his bare hands, but Zhao Cheng simply replied that it was fine in a steady voice. To avoid being caught by Zhao Ziji, I once had to hide awakening stones inside mutant dog bellies, manure pits, and even rotting morgues. Compared to those horrors, this scene was trivial. He then pulled out a sharp object matted with gore, a bone knife meticulously crafted from a mutated ox. Wiping it on his hem, he looked on with satisfaction at the fine weapon. "Chengzi, watch out, he's back!" Liu Zi suddenly screamed as the decaying wolf prowled toward them, his murky eyes fixed on the two trespassers. "Wolves are notoriously cunning," Zhao Cheng explained calmly, his grip tightening on the bone knife. "He intentionally feigned leaving just to bait us out into the open, but I stepped out intentionally. First, wielding this weapon improves the odds of killing him. Second, this serves as a provocation to force him into a direct confrontation. Can you hold him off?" Liu Zi asked, his slingshot at the ready. "Rest easy and leave him to me. Just carry out whatever tactics you have planned," Zhao Cheng calculated inwardly. Yezi had awakened his attributes 6 months before him, so his experience in dealing with monsters was surely more extensive. He recalled the lesson his sister had once taught him. Strike first to seize the advantage. Without a moment's hesitation, Zhao Cheng lunged forward. Having fought mutated beasts from age 5 to 9 under his sister's tutelage, this post-calamity monster was well within his capabilities. However, his speed exceeded expectations, making it incredibly difficult to aim for the red orb on his chest. The wolf let out a roar as a blood-red aura enveloped his entire body. Bloodthirsty wolf nature increased his speed by 15%, causing his movements to accelerate. Fleshy tendons lashed out like whips, binding Zhao Cheng as his jagged maw opened wide to shred his prey. "He's too fast, he really does possess attribute abilities." Zhao Cheng clenched his teeth. At that life-or-death moment, a sharp whistle pierced the air. A stone from Liu Zi's slingshot struck the wolf squarely in one eye, sending him into a howling, staggering frenzy. "Chengzi, now's your chance." Seizing the perfect opening, Zhao Cheng summoned all his strength, gripped the bone knife with both hands, and drove a lethal blow into the red orb in the monster's chest. A sickening squelch rang out as he ground his teeth and shoved the blade deeper, determined to leave him no chance of survival. "Get back!" Zhao Cheng yelled, sensing the beast's life force flickering out. But it was too late. His massive carcass collapsed, pinning him beneath its weight. "Chengzi!" Liu Zi cried out in horror as he rushed forward. "Are you all right?" Only silence followed, but then movement stirred under the heavy corpse. Sounds of struggling emerged as Zhao Cheng crawled out, drenched in blood and monster bile, yet his eyes remained sharp. "Don't worry," he grunted. "I'm not that easy to kill." At that moment, a series of notifications flashed in his mind. "Congratulations, you have reached level 2. Radiant grade attribute Eternal Evolution has triggered its effect. You may acquire a new attribute. Please select one of the following 3 options. 1. Independent Research I Gold Grade. 2. Paper Strategist Bronze Grade. 3. Resilient Wolf Fur Gold Grade. Zhao Cheng was stunned. Was this the power of a Radiant grade attribute? To receive a new attribute immediately upon leveling up. Discarding the bronze option, he wavered between the 2 gold attributes. Since Independent Research was labeled with a 1, it was likely the start of an upgradable chain. "I choose Independent Research. Congratulations, you have obtained a new gold grade attribute. Independent Research I Detailed Description. Effect 1 increases all character stats by 15%. The bonus from Eternal Evolution has risen to 22.5%, and with Effect 2 active, the duration has extended to 1.5 minutes, while the attribute boost has surged to 300%. This marked the initial phase of his independent attribute research, and the sheer power of the effect left Zhao Cheng utterly stunned. "Hey Zhao Cheng, why are you just standing there?" Liu Zi's voice snapped him back to reality, urging him to quickly gather the spoils of war. The scent of blood would soon draw other monsters, so Zhao Cheng apologized for his lapse in focus and told Liu Zi to take his portion. Liu Zi waved his hand dismissively, his face still somewhat pale as he insisted that since Zhao Cheng had slain the beast alone, the loot belonged to him. He mentioned that his parents wouldn't even let him slaughter poultry at home, leaving Zhao Cheng to simply shake his head at the young master's sheltered nature. An indescribable sense of warmth welled up within him, realizing that in this chaotic and perilous world, Zi was a rare exception. Having a complete family with the love of both parents made Zi a beacon of light, a stark contrast to someone like him who was steeped in darkness. After finishing off the mutant wolf, Zai began to sort the loot, suggesting that the materials from the carcass should go to his companion. The meat was putrid and useless, but he set aside the crystals for Zhao Cheng while pulling the bones and pelt toward himself. To Zhao Cheng, those parts were merely worthless scrap, as the gray crystal was the only item of true value, leaving Zai completely stunned. Do you really intend to give all of this to me? My family is currently recruiting and desperately needs valuable items like these. Zhao Cheng told him to consider it an investment in his family's future, noting that without Zia's arrow striking the beast's eye, the kill wouldn't have been so easy. Gratitude shone in Zia's eyes as he promised to remember the debt and inform his father, though he noted they still faced one major problem. Everything would be confiscated once they left, but Zhao Cheng replied that he had a plan to deal with their captors once they were out. For now, they had to utilize every resource to increase their strength, knowing that Zhao Zhiji forcing him here had certainly not gone unnoticed. That old fox had orchestrated everything long ago, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal his hand. So Zai suggested they continue heading deeper. He and his sister had encountered mutant wolves on the outskirts before, and since they were pack animals, there was likely an entire den further in the forest. Suddenly, he halted with a serious expression, stating that as comrades fighting side by side, there were things he needed to clarify before the next hunt. He revealed that after defeating the previous wolf, his experience bar had reached over 90%, putting him on the verge of breaking through to level 2. My attribute is called Butcher Ding's skill, and it is of gold quality. It not only adds 15% to all my stats, but also grants me the ability to see through a target's weaknesses. Thanks to it, I was able to immediately identify the wolf's eye as its fatal spot. Yi Zai was trying to be transparent to build mutual trust, which would help our future combat coordination become more synchronized. A sense of hesitation rose within me. If he knew I possessed a radiant tier attribute, a rarity found in only 1 in 10,000, what would he think? Would this sincere and simple friendship still exist? After some deliberation, he clenched his fists and decided to hide part of the truth. My attribute is independent research, which increases all stats by 15% and allows for a temporary burst of power in any single stat for a short duration. This was indeed a part of his ability, so it wasn't entirely a lie. Hearing this, Yi Zai breathed a sigh of relief, and a bright smile returned to his face. What a relief! I was worried you were hiding your skills or that your attribute was better than mine. You really had me worried. Yi Zai laughed and gave him a loud slap on the shoulder. Excellent, our attributes are of the same rank. We truly are brothers destined by fate. Come, good brother, let's go hunt wolves together. He gave a slightly forced smile. I'm sorry, Yi Zai. When the time is right, I will definitely tell you the whole truth. And so our battle for survival officially began, with our coordination becoming more synchronized, one attacking from the front and the other providing support from a distance. The mutated wolves fell one by one, and as promised, he still gave all the spirit crystals to Yi Zai. Cheng Zai, do you really not need a single one? Yi Zai asked apologetically. No need. These wolf bones and skins are enough to craft weapons and armor, or they can be exchanged for some item vouchers. Very well, Yi Zai no longer refused. I finally reached level 2 and my experience is over 70%. What about you? What level are you? I'm level 4 with over 50% experience. Yi Zai was stunned into silence upon hearing this. His eyes widened in shock. How much? Say that again. Every time we finished a target, it was my strike that did it. You only provided support from afar. Perhaps that's why our experience gains are so different, he said, making up a plausible reason. Damn it, it turns out it's because this young master couldn't overcome his fear of blood. Yi Zai muttered, his face turning red. How about I charge in first next time? As soon as he said it, he quickly waved his hand. No, I prefer being Cheng Zai's support more. I like being a support the most. Seeing his awkward expression, Zhao Cheng couldn't help but laugh. This act of his wasn't convincing at all. The reason he leveled up so quickly was that upon reaching level 3, he had activated his second Radiant Tier attribute, Absolute Lead. Although it was of the same quality as the Eternal Evolution book, its power was somewhat weaker, merely providing a 50% experience boost when killing monsters in dungeons. However, when combined with the effects of the Eternal Evolution book, the total experience he received skyrocketed to 75%. It seemed that even among attributes of the same Radiant Tier, there was a clear difference in power. Just then, an angry voice echoed from the distance. Liu Zhu, what do you think you're doing? Hey, that voice sounds lovely. Jia Zai's eyes lit up. Could we be running into someone else? Lu Cheng quickly tried to stop his curious friend. Don't cause trouble. Let's head another way. But Jia Zai had already begun to lose himself in his imagination. With a voice that beautiful, she must be a beauty. Let's just take a quick look. No, leveling up is more important. Every extra moment we stay here increases the danger. Our vital energy will be drained. As they were about to leave, another voice, this time a man's, rang out with smug satisfaction. Eldest miss, if you take off your clothes voluntarily now, we might be a bit gentle. But if you refuse to be sensible, don't blame me for resorting to force. Jia Zai immediately winked at him with a suggestive smile. Hey Lu Cheng, it looks like a good show is about to start. He narrowed his eyes and looked toward the source of the sound. After a moment of silence, he nodded. Fine, there's no harm in watching for a bit. In a nearby clearing, a girl was being surrounded, her voice sounding as cold as ice. So you planned all of this from the very beginning? The man named Liu Zhu sneered. Of course, for a lowly person like myself, the chance to get close to a high-ranking figure like you is a once-in-a-millennium opportunity. As you can see, my ability is toxin-based. Even level 5 awakened ones would perish from my poison, let alone a level 1 novice like you. He stepped closer, his lecherous gaze completely undisguised. My lady, just surrender quietly. My appearance isn't too bad, and I'll certainly treat you well in the future. Besides, you'll have to get married sooner or later anyway. And it just so happens that I need the status of the Guan family's son-in-law to advance. You and I are truly a match made in heaven. Jia Zai nudged his arm lightly. He whispered, did you hear that? This servant is planning a rebellion to force her hand. This is a truly wicked way to climb the social ladder. After all, if such a scandalous matter were to get out, her family would find it impossible to save face. Hey, why are you so quiet? Don't you have any thoughts on such an exciting situation? His eyes flickered with a calculating glint. If her guards have all been dealt with, we'll have an opportunity. An opportunity? Jia Zai asked in surprise. Are you really planning to join them? I didn't realize you had such intense tastes. He shot him a cold look. No, let them fight until they're exhausted. We will be the ones to clean up the battlefield. He analyzed the situation. That girl isn't ordinary, but with such a low level, she has no chance of winning. We just need to wait for the right moment. Jia Zai finally understood, looking at him with a mix of shock and admiration. Lu Cheng, you really are something else. Liu Zhu let out a savage roar as his arm, stained with deadly toxins, lunged toward the cornered woman. Miss Guan, he sneered sinisterly, if you won't cooperate, I'll just have to help you myself. My lady, please don't blame me for being a bit rough. Facing imminent peril, the girl's eyes gleamed with an extraordinary resolve as she suddenly hurled a handful of dust at Liu Zhu's face, making him shout in confusion. He instinctively squeezed his eyes shut with a cry, allowing the girl to seize the precious moment and flee desperately, knowing the substance was merely numbing powder. It wouldn't hold him for long, so she had to find an exit to reach safety, while he laughed behind her, mocking her for trying to stop him with such a trivial paralyzing agent. Liu Zhu's mocking voice echoed from behind, warning the young lady that since she was being difficult, he would show no mercy before he hurled several sharp daggers with terrifying speed. One blade sank deep into her arm while another pierced her calf, the agonizing pain causing her to collapse instantly. While elsewhere, Zhao Cheng explained the laws of level disparity in this world to Liu Zijia. He noted that every level gained enhances bodily functions by roughly 30%, prompting a stunned Liu Zijia to ask how he had come to know such things. Zhao Cheng calmly replied that he had simply deduced it by using the pack of rotting wolves they had just defeated as a reference, asking if his friend hadn't noticed the change. It had clearly felt much easier to slay the wolves as they went on, leading Liu Zijia to mutter in admiration about how he had never realized Zhao Cheng possessed such terrifying combat talent. As Liu Zijia looked at his friend with awe, the scene returned to the confrontation where Liu Zhu slowly approached the writhing woman and licked his lips, telling the eldest miss to be at ease. His voice was thick with a sickly lust, as he promised to be as gentle as possible while leaning down to whisper into her ear. He warned her not to move, explaining that his elemental toxin had already entered her system and would only take effect faster the more she struggled against it. The girl gritted her teeth in resentment, declaring that even if he took her body, he wouldn't survive once they left because the Guan family would never forgive a lowlife like him. But Liu Zhu only laughed. He mocked her for believing his lies, revealing that he never intended to become the Guan family's son-in-law, as their true goal was simply to transform the pampered princess into a ruined woman. They intended to turn her into a piece of filthy cargo just to tarnish her family's reputation. Then he told the eldest miss of the Guan family to say goodbye to her purity. In her moment of deepest despair, the girl suddenly pulled the dagger from her arm and used the last of her strength to aim a strike directly at Liu Zhu's throat. He was stunned as the pain and the toxin from his own weapon made his body tremble, and he snarled at her for being a wench who refused the mercy he had offered. He roared that she should die and raised his hand to finish her, while she thought that since the knife was poisoned, he would die too, and she would not bring shame to her family. Girl closed her eyes, prepared for death. But just as Liu Zhu's blade drew near, a figure charged in like a whirlwind, and Zhao Cheng delivered a thunderous kick. He sent the scoundrel flying, and in that life-or-death moment, the sharp features of her savior's face were etched deeply into the girl's mind. Liu Zhu was sent flying 10 meters away, only stopping when he slammed into an ancient tree, as Liu Zijia ran over and excitedly called out to Zhao Cheng. That leap was surely due to your attribute-based speed enhancement, wasn't it? Zhao Cheng had his own reasons and felt awkward explaining, but before he could speak, the woman lost consciousness in his arms. How is she? Is she dead? Liu Zijia asked anxiously. Zhao Cheng checked her breathing. She's still alive. Her nerves were likely overstrained and she finally relaxed. Combined with the toxin's effects, she fainted. But since she's poisoned, I doubt she'll make it, Liu Zijia sighed. What a shame for such a beauty. She cannot die yet, Zhao Cheng declared firmly. She is a crucial element in our plan for the uprising. But she's poisoned and we have no cure. We don't, Zhao Cheng smirked, his cold eyes fixed on the unconscious Liu Zhu. But that man does. A moment later, Liu Zhu woke up to find himself stripped completely bare, wearing nothing but his boxers. Cheng, you actually stripped him. Aren't you worried his backers will come for revenge? That girl already knows his identity. To the mastermind, he is now nothing more than a discarded pawn. Anyone who provokes us is provoking that noble young lady, Zhao Cheng explained. Exactly, this young master was thinking the same thing. Liu Zi nodded pompously. Liu Zhu slowly came to, it hurts. My head feels like it was struck by a thunderous kick. Who did this to me? He opened his eyes and was horrified to see two faces grinning down at him deviously. Who are you? You lowlifes dared to ambush me. Do you know who I am? Release me this instant or I'll tear you to shreds. Cheng, how should we handle this? Liu Zi asked. Zhao Cheng slowly ran his finger along the blade of his knife. His smile became increasingly predatory. Treat him just like that mutated wild boar we caught alive last time. Then you're in luck, my friend. Liu Zi played along. That boar screamed the same way, and its end was truly pathetic. I'm warning you, I'm not some nobody you can just mess with. Soon after, blood-curdling screams filled the forest. Liu Zhu's face was beaten so severely that he was no longer recognizable. My blood is the antidote, he stammered in terror. You must keep your word, don't hit me anymore. Just take a little, I'll die if you take too much. Whether you live or die depends on whether you're telling the truth, Zhao Cheng replied coldly. He dragged him over to the girl and sliced a gash into his arm with the knife. Ah, it hurts. Great hero, please be gentle. Zhao Cheng ignored him and squeezed the wound forcefully, letting the toxic blood drip into the girl's mouth. Ow, ow. Hero, stop squeezing. That's enough, don't waste it. Having taken enough blood, Zhao Cheng tossed him to his companion. Zi, watch him. Use wolf moss to bind the wound so the scent doesn't draw monsters. After everything was settled, Liu Zi clicked his tongue with an air of experience. Tusk. It seems Cheng is still a bit inferior to this young master in some regards. That woman may be attractive, but he was not moved in the slightest. He would only ever love Xiaoyu. Meanwhile, despite being detoxified, the pain from her wounds and the lingering poison continued to torment the girl in her deep coma. Don't be in such a hurry, Liu Zhu explained softly. The healing properties need a bit of time to take effect. A few minutes later, as the gentle green light dissipated, Guanzu slowly opened her eyes. The burning sensation and exhaustion were replaced by a surge of warm vitality. She looked at Zhao Cheng in surprise. It was you who saved me. I have my own reasons, Zhao Cheng admitted frankly without hiding anything. We happened to overhear your conversation. You must be that noble young lady of high status, right? Guanzu hesitated for a moment. Even if he had an agenda, the truth was that he had saved her life. Furthermore, Liu Zhu had likely already accidentally revealed her identity. She thought to herself that, in terms of both reason and sentiment, there was no longer any need to hide it. The Guan family's reputation was so legendary that he couldn't possibly be unaware. That's right, my surname is Guan, she confirmed. So, is your father the manager of some settlement? Zhao Cheng's question left Guanzu stunned. What is he asking? She wondered in shock. Did he really not know the significance of the Guan name, or was he just playing dumb? Liu Zhu and his gang's plans had unexpectedly been ruined by these two seemingly foolish people. Answer me, Zhao Cheng urged with a serious expression. Let's just say that's the case, Guanzu replied vaguely. Since the Guan family managed hundreds of settlements, saying her father was a manager wasn't wrong. Zhao Cheng's face immediately became extremely solemn. In that case, since I saved your life, could you ask your father to do me a favor? Let me hear what you want first, Guanzu replied cautiously. My life might not be worth such a large trade. I want to overthrow the person managing our settlement, Zhao Cheng stated. Zhao Cheng spoke loudly, his voice full of determination. If your father is also a manager, he must be a powerful expert. With your family's support, our chances of victory will increase significantly. Guanzu was stunned. After all that circling around for half the day, it turned out he only wanted this. As if reading her thoughts, Zhao Cheng quickly explained, I know this is difficult and you might suffer losses, but in exchange, we can also provide benefits to you. You surely came to this dungeon to gather supplies and gain experience. My friend and I can act as your bodyguards for the rest of the way. Furthermore, he emphasized, all the supplies we collect from now on will belong to you as long as you agree to help. Guanzu glanced at Zhao Cheng's goggle-wearing companion. Liu Zai shrugged. I have no opinion. All decisions are up to him. Guanzu quietly assessed Zhao Cheng. He was about her age, but his composure and decisiveness in every action far exceeded her own, though he was a bit naive. Adventuring with him in this dungeon might be quite interesting. It's a deal, she smiled, reaching out her hand. I am Guanzu, nice to meet you. Zhao Cheng shook her hand, feeling her soft yet firm grip, while his good friend Liu Zijia watched the scene unfold. Standing nearby, Liu Zhu was seething with rage that a noble lady of the Guan family would so casually touch a lowlife from the fringes of society. He felt such a woman was unworthy of his young master. So, how do you intend to deal with him? Guanzu asked, pointing at the bound Liu Zhu. Since we are now teammates, his fate is yours to decide, Zhu Cheng replied nonchalantly. Consider it our introductory gift to you. Terrified out of his wits, Liu Zhu hurriedly kowtowed and begged, Eldest miss, I was blind and ignorant, blinded by greed. Please spare my life. Fine, I'll handle him myself, Guanzu said as she stood up and retrieved Liu Zhu's poisoned dagger from the ground. Wait, Zhao Cheng interjected. His blood has detoxifying properties, so his own dagger won't be enough to kill him. Yes, exactly. You are wise, sir, Liu Zhu chimed in. Just treat me like a passing whim and let me go. I am aware, Guanzu replied coldly. I don't intend to poison him. Making him bleed will be quite sufficient. Without hesitation, she plunged the blade into Liu Zhu's shoulder. Fresh blood immediately gushed out, staining the earth crimson as he let out a piteous scream. All right, let's go, she said, turning away without a second glance. After walking a short distance, Liu Zijia nudged Zhao Cheng. He signaled with his eyes, thinking the woman was soft-hearted for not killing the man who had murdered 4 people and nearly disgraced her. That's not it, Zhao Cheng replied in a low voice. In this dungeon, the scent of his blood will act as the perfect bait to lure in monsters. Liu Zijia was stunned, realizing he had nearly forgotten that detail. Contrary to the mercy you see, Zhao Cheng continued, I sense a terrifying coldness within her. Having monsters slowly tear him apart is 10 times more agonizing than a quick death. Hearing this, Liu Zijia's mouth twitched uncontrollably. He had completely misjudged her. She was actually a cruel and calculating individual. Meanwhile, Liu Zhu was still struggling desperately against his restraints. That Guan bitch. Once I get out of here, I'll make her wish she were dead. No, I'll let a whole group have their way with her first. His curses were cut short by a low growl from the shadows. Attracted by the blood, a pack of mutant wolves had arrived. What? How are they here so fast? Stay back. A desperate, blood-curdling scream echoed through the woods before falling silent, making Liu Zijia shudder. Good grief, judging by that sound, he's definitely finished. Zhao Cheng suddenly turned to Guanzu and said, You were a bit too hasty back there. Keeping him alive might have led us to the mastermind. Guanzu smiled and replied, You're kind, but since you have no enemies here, I've already guessed who it is. Sparing him would only provide a witness. If the mastermind's status is too high, a living witness only brings more trouble, she explained. Even as the daughter of a high-ranking manager, there were problems she couldn't solve alone. Suddenly, a massive dark shadow leaped from the trees, bearing its sharp fangs at them. Activate Autonomous Research 1 Effect 2. For 1.5 minutes, his agility attribute increases by 300%, making time appear to slow down as the monster's powerful bite snaps at nothing but empty air. Moments earlier, Zhao Cheng had grabbed Guanzu and dashed away with a sudden burst of speed. Once they regained their footing, the monster's form finally became clear. It was a colossal wolf with its entire body covered in a ghostly layer of white bone. Information: Nether Bone Wolf King Level 5. Description: a sub-boss monster of the Nether Secret Forest Dungeon. Damn it, Zhao Cheng! Liu Zijia shrieked in terror. That's the Wolf King. At that moment, countless blood-red eyes gleamed from the darkness in every direction, as dozens of other mutated wolves gathered to surround the 3 of them. Oh my God, we're surrounded, Liu Zijia trembled. The Wolf King is here for revenge because we killed too many wolves. Retribution has come. Why are you babbling at a time like this? Zhao Cheng snapped. Think of a way to escape. His gaze sharpened as he issued a firm command. Zijia, your job is to provide cover with your slingshot and protect Miss Guan. I'll handle the entire pack. Zygia stammered in a panic. What? Kill that monster? That's the Wolf King. Even those other 4 are formidable. You're only level 2, how can you protect us? He stared intently at the abnormally large Wolf King. That creature had been his target from the very beginning. Zhao Cheng, level 4, 89% EXP. With his attributes awakened, everything was clearly calculated in his mind. Since reaching level 4, the experience gained from those minor wolves had become far too meager. To achieve a breakthrough to level 5 in one go, the only way was to face the boss, the Wolf King. That was the reason he hadn't stopped Guanzu when she wounded Liu Zhu. He used the scent of blood to lure this monster into appearing. I need your head as a stepping stone on my path to becoming a powerhouse. Zhao Cheng, wait a moment. He turned back. What is it? Ancient texts teach that to do a job well, one must first sharpen their tools. You must have sharp equipment to succeed. The bone blade in his hand was completely ruined, so she reached into the small pouch at her hip with a graceful, noble gesture. A sharp dagger glinted in the forest's dim light. Though not a divine weapon, it was far better than his bone knife, leaving him amazed that she could hide it in such a short skirt. He took the weapon, noting its weight and sharpness, and with a brief word of thanks, he gripped it tightly and blurred into motion. He charged the Wolf King, using his speed boost to zip past the beast's head, knowing a head-on clash with such a monster was suicidal as it roared and snapped at the air. He nimbly twisted in midair and landed softly, knowing his only chance at victory was to find and destroy its blood-red energy core. That was his only shot at winning, so he clung to its thick fur with his dagger ready, knowing the battle would end if he could just pierce that spot. He immediately spotted a faint red glow beneath its belly, but as he prepared to strike the vital point, the other wolves moved to intercept him. They formed a tight pincer to block his path, forcing him to retreat and dodge their lethal claws. These mutant wolves were smarter than expected, their aggression a mere feint. However, no beast could outmatch human strategy, and he smiled confidently, having never intended to face the Wolf King alone from the start. These level 2 bone wolves were no longer a threat to him, and as he activated his self-research skill, a powerful energy surged through his veins. System notification. Self-research skill, gold, activated, increasing all attributes by 15%. Due to resonance with the Eternal Evolution book, Radiant, the boost is adjusted to 22.5%. His blade carved a deadly arc, easily splitting a nether bone wolf in two, proving that petty tricks were useless against absolute power. After swiftly taking one down, he landed and shouted for Jia Zai to coordinate, and Jia Zai immediately signaled his readiness. He activated the butcher's insight skill, his eyes flashing gold as he identified the pack's weaknesses and fired stones from his slingshot with pinpoint accuracy into their vitals. Taking advantage of the opening, he lunged like a whirlwind, his blade repeatedly striking the red energy cores beneath their bellies. Their coordination was perfectly synced from countless battles. She realized she had been wrong to think of him as just a common follower. The Wolf King howled in a frenzy as a murderous aura erupted. System notification. The Wolf King has activated its bloodthirsty wolf instinct. Bronze speed increased by 15%. The time to end this had come, but the massive beast suddenly turned away from him. It charged toward the two weaker allies in the back, and Liu Zygia screamed in terror as the Wolf King's fanged maw opened wide to devour them. "Get down!" he roared, propelling himself forward like an arrow with all his strength, determined to finish the beast with one final all-out blow. Flame enchantment. System notification. Bronze tier flame enchantment attribute activated. Enchantment effect. Fire infusion applied to the weapon, dealing 30% fire damage with a 30% chance to trigger a burn effect. Target loses 3% of maximum HP every 10 seconds. The blade in his hand erupts with a crimson infernal fire as he lets out a roar, channeling his entire strength into the throw. The dagger transforms into a blazing meteor, tearing through the night and plowing the ground into a deep, scorched trench wherever it passes. The Wolf King is completely engulfed in a sea of flames, only having time to let out agonizing shrieks before its massive body is incinerated. The dagger is embedded deep within an ancient tree, still radiating intense heat. My God, Zhu Cheng's move is so overpowered that there are no words for it. Yi Zai stammers, her face still filled with shock. This terrifying power. Even in my clan, experts below level 8 would struggle to produce such a horrific force. But this dungeon is restricted to those level 5 and under. What level is he exactly? Hey, what level is Zhu Cheng now? She turns to ask Yi Zai. Definitely over level 4, much higher than me. I'm only level 2. To do what a level 8 can at level 4, plus that ability to set the blade on fire. At his current level, he should only possess one attribute, so this must be his awakened power. Yet it's clearly just a weak bronze tier attribute, to use such a weak trait so effectively. Perhaps I have found the talent my father has always yearned for. Leaving their astonishment behind, he only offers a faint smile. Success, system notification. You have slain the Wolf King and received a massive amount of experience points. Absolute lead effect activated, increasing experience gain by 75%. Congratulations, you have reached level 5. The Eternal Evolution book has opened a new page. Activation effect. Obtain a new attribute. Please select one of the 3 attributes below. The Bloodthirsty Wolf Instinct attribute has a detailed description, likely because I witnessed it in action. This choice is safe and easy to use, but the growth potential of same system attributes is usually higher. I'll take the gamble. I choose Decisive Head Strike. System notification. You have obtained a new bronze tier attribute, Decisive Head Strike. Description. After use, the next attack is guaranteed to be a critical hit, with critical damage increased by 150%. Receiving adjustment effects from the Eternal Evolution book. Cooldown time, 10 minutes. Another combat attribute similar to Flame Enchantment. Though the effect is simple when combined with other abilities, it can create a finishing blow at the crucial moment. He shakes his head, pushing his calculations aside. For now, the most important task is skinning the Wolf King and gathering the spoils of war. Zhu Cheng approaches the tree and pulls his 2 daggers from the wood. Why are you gathering these? They can be traded for item vouchers or used to craft gear, Zhu Cheng explains briefly while checking his blades. In our settlement, these are all rare materials, but according to our agreement, they belong to you now. Rare, these things. The claws of these low-level monsters. Back home, even the lowliest servant wouldn't spare them a glance. She thinks to herself, wondering what kind of pathetic settlement these 2 came from. But immediately her father's teachings echo in her mind. Never underestimate anyone, for every life in this world possesses infinite potential. She realized her father's teachings were correct. Even in obscure places she had never heard of, geniuses like Zhu Cheng could emerge. At that moment, Zhu Cheng looked at his arm. The gray marks of death energy were spreading, and he calmly noted that they were running out of time. Liu Zijia, standing nearby, couldn't stay calm as the death energy numbed his hands, remarking that Zhu Cheng was incredibly tough. It was clearly painful, numbing and freezing as if his blood were clotting, yet he simply said it felt a bit numb and that they must hurry. Zhu Cheng replied with a steady gaze that they should move, as a higher level would give them a better chance to defeat their enemies, to gain experience faster than wandering aimlessly. He mentioned there was a much better place, prompting Liu Zijia to ask where. She explained that every dimensional instance had a boss, and defeating it provided far more experience than regular monsters. Furthermore, boss territories often contained treasures like high-grade crystals or divine weapons, making the difficult hunt extremely rewarding. Liu Zijia suddenly slapped his forehead, asking if the massive Wolf King they had just defeated wasn't the final boss. Zhu Cheng interrupted, explaining that she had Cheng a boss territory, meaning the true boss would be guarding a fixed location. Unlike the Wolf King that roamed around, the real boss wouldn't leave its post. Liu Zijia awkwardly scratched his head in realization. He told Zhu Cheng that he understood without needing a detailed explanation, while she found Zhu Cheng's friend quite amusing. Finding the boss was difficult, and time was short, but she mentioned she had something to help in this low-level white instance. As she searched through the folds of her skirt, Liu Zijia whispered to his friend that she was just trying to show off. He wondered how she could act so casually after nearly dying in a low-level dungeon, and what her skirt was made of. It seemed like a bottomless bag. Zhu Cheng whispered back that her knowledge likely came from her background in the management class. He suggested her ability to pull items out was a special trait, but Liu Zijia teased him about his interest in her until Guan Zhu interrupted. She produced an ancient compass, secretly deciding not to reveal the high value of the boss sensor needle to them. It was a green-grade item, capable of accurately locating a boss within any spatial instance of green rank or lower. The golden compass needle suddenly pointed in one direction, revealing the origins of a mysterious captain's personal items found within a green-tier dungeon treasure. Zhao Cheng moved forward without a moment of hesitation, prompting Liu Zijia to shout for him not to ignore him before hurrying to catch up. The trio soon arrived at a vast cavern where a shimmering treasure chest sat guarded by a massive, slumbering beast that looked like a giant wild boar. Liu Zijia gulped and asked if that was the boss, just as the monster sensed their presence and snapped its bloodshot eyes open. He worried if the creature was too strong. It was the Hong Mahai, a level 10 boss and the sole guardian of this dungeon's treasure. The dungeon would collapse once it was slain, but they had to be wary of its sharp tusks, poisonous back spikes, and 2 awakened attributes. Zhao Cheng calculated their chances, noting that Guan Zhu was level 1, Liu Zijia was level 3, and he was level 5 against a level 10 boss with terrifying stats. Defeating it with only 3 people seemed impossible, and Guan Zhu agreed, recalling her master's warning that even 5 elite guards shouldn't provoke it. She explained that the boss was an entity far beyond normal standards, requiring monster class Awakened to even stand a chance of killing it. Liu Zijia grumbled about the futility of being there if only those with combat power far exceeding their level could win, but Guan Zhu didn't respond. She simply gazed at Zhao Cheng with absolute confidence, seeing him as that very type of monster class Awakened, just as he suddenly signaled that someone was approaching. The 3 of them quickly hid behind a rock as a group of men dressed like bandits entered the cave, clutching firearms in their hands. Their leader laughed loudly about his heaven-defying luck, claiming that after nearly 10 failed attempts in this dungeon, he had finally found the prize. Liu Zijia whispered to Cheng, asking if those men were crazy, but Zhao Cheng replied that some of them might possess powerful attributes. Furthermore, Zhao Cheng narrowed his eyes and told him to look at the leader's weapon, identifying it as a gun, which left Liu Zijia confused. He had seen people use them to hunt mutated dogs outside the settlement, noting their immense power was something ordinary people could never hope to resist. Guan Zhu glanced at the modern rifle in the leader's hand with a look of contempt, explaining that it was nothing more than a cheap imitation. She remarked that genuine weapons from the ancient era were far more terrifying, a fact that immediately piqued the interest of the story-loving Liu Zijia. He marveled at the claim that a single weapon could wipe out a settlement of hundreds of thousands, questioning if they were truly that powerful. Guan Zhu countered by asking why the world was in such a miserable state if their weapons were so strong, suggesting elite Awakened were even scarier. Some Awakened are so powerful that their mere existence can reshape the world. But their conversation was suddenly interrupted by a deafening explosion ahead. The battle had commenced as the arrogant gang leader relentlessly fired his weapon at a massive wild boar, activating his bronze-tier bullet formation ability. By using firearms, he could convert his internal energy into a continuous stream of ammunition, firing manically as the gunshots echoed throughout the forest. "Taste my lead, you beast!" the man yelled, while Zhao Cheng narrowed his eyes to observe, realizing that if they distracted the boss, he could seize the treasure without a direct confrontation. "Are you planning to be the fisherman who profits while others fight?" Guan Zhu suddenly asked, to which Zhao Cheng looked puzzled, so she explained he intended to steal the chest amidst the chaos. She explained it was an idiom he likely hadn't studied, while Liu Zijia seized the moment to boast about being such a knowledgeable and well-read companion. "I truly envy you for having such a great friend like me," he said, causing Guan Zhu to shake her head, thinking the man never missed an opportunity to praise himself. "I do have that intention," Zhao Cheng admitted frankly, noting that taking advantage of the chaos to seize the treasure was their most optimal strategy. "Given our current strength, we stand no chance in a direct confrontation with this boss," he said, before Guan Zhu suddenly stopped him. "Your arm has been severely corroded by the dark energy of this dungeon, and if left untreated, it will hinder your movements," she warned. In such a perilous situation, even the slightest mistake could cost a life, so she produced 2 emerald green pills. "This is a special medicine from my family that resists corrosion in low-level dungeons. Take one, and give the other to Liu Zijia." "Fantastic!" Liu Zijia cheered as he swallowed it, complaining about the pain from the dark energy, while Zhao Cheng held the pill and asked hesitantly, "Is this expensive?" he asked, recalling Liu Zijia's mention that the entrance fee for a dimensional dungeon alone cost over 100 vouchers. He wondered how much such a specialized pill would cost, realizing that despite their deal, what she provided far exceeded what they could offer in return. Seeing Zhao Cheng's contemplative expression, Guan Zhu casually replied that they were very cheap and only cost 1 voucher each, suggesting they simply weren't sold in his area. "I will pay you back later," Zhao Cheng said before taking the medicine, while Liu Zijia sighed in relief, having feared they cost 100 vouchers each. As Liu Zijia breathed a sigh of relief, Guan Zhu smiled inwardly, noting that despite being penniless, Zhao Cheng was quite sensitive and held onto his principles. He refused to owe anyone even the smallest favor, and she suspected that if he knew the pill actually cost 2,000 vouchers, he would have refused to take it even if it meant death. Meanwhile, the battle ahead grew increasingly fierce as the gang, despite their numbers, was repeatedly repelled by the powerful boss, leaving casualties scattered everywhere. "Watch out for the spikes on its back. You bastards, stop it. Don't you dare hurt my brothers." The leader roared in fury, continuing to fire his weapon relentlessly. The boss's health bar gradually dropped from 92% to 85%. Suddenly, the wild boar let out a roar as its entire body became encased in a layer of iron-hard scales. Activating reinforced scale armor bronze attribute. Effect: strengthens the outer hide, The higher the level, the greater the hardening intensity. Clang, clang, clang. The bullets hitting its body now felt like mere scratches. Damn it, one of its attributes really is a defense upgrade. This is going to be tough. The leader hissed through gritted teeth as the wild boar turned and charged directly at him. Come at me, he bellowed without a hint of fear. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Once I kill you, I still have to lead my brothers to a life of luxury. Haha, what is there to be afraid of? My brothers and I have crossed mountains of blades and seas of fire, so why would we fear a stupid pig? The remaining lackeys immediately formed a human wall to shield their boss. Activating Iron Wall, Bronze attribute. Effect, increases personal defense by 15%. A series of defensive skills were triggered, creating an incredibly sturdy shield. Before we fall, we will never let this beast touch a single hair on our boss's head. Zhao Cheng couldn't help but be astonished as he witnessed the scene. He had thought they were just a disorganized mob, but it seemed that wasn't the case. That leader must have some real capability to command such a loyal group of brothers. But our priority right now is this lock, he said, turning toward the treasure chest. Liu Zijia and Guanzu were both surprised. You even know how to pick locks. Of course Cheng knows how, Liu Zijia said proudly. I heard he picked quite a few locks while scouting the world outside the settlement. What does the outside world look like? Guanzu asked curiously. I rarely leave the settlement, and even when I do, I only go to safe zones, Liu Zijia replied. But Cheng once mentioned that it's both a desolate ruin and a place brimming with intense vitality. What kind of world does he really see out there? Guanzu thought to herself, her gaze complex as she watched Zhao Cheng focus on picking the lock. It's open. Its mechanism is identical to the locks in the outside world. Zhao Cheng exclaimed, wondering what could possibly be hidden inside. But just as he lifted the lid, another terrifying explosion erupted from the battlefield. The wild boar let out a furious roar. Intense heat radiated from its entire body as the surrounding ground began to crack. Activating thermal current conversion, Bronze attribute. Effect, consumes stamina. Converts breath into heat waves, with temperatures reaching up to 140 degrees Celsius. Its health bar was now down to 41%, and its bloodshot eyes, filled with hatred, turned toward them. It locked onto the three of them. This is bad, Zhao Cheng muttered. It's targeting us now. The massive beast, burning like a fireball, began to charge toward them frantically. Tightening his grip on the pair of daggers, he growled, his eyes fixed on the rampaging monster. Here it comes, but unexpectedly, lead bullets from afar embedded themselves into the creature's thick hide, successfully drawing its attention. He looked back in shock to see the soldiers of the Scarlet Wolf Corps, men he thought had already fallen, struggling to raise their weapons once more. Hadn't those people all fallen? A blood-soaked man, likely the captain, roared at him. Kid, run away quickly. This isn't something you can handle. Don't throw your life away in vain. My brothers and I are finished. We can't make it out of this dungeon anymore. Another voice called out, Get lost, you sneaky brat, you must survive. Even those dying on the ground tried to wave him off, their voices weak but resolute. Go now, kid, don't forget the Red Wolf Squad saved you. Saving a life before dying, our leader truly lives up to his name. Amidst the hail of bullets and those spirited cries, he made a contrary choice. His body lunged toward the monster, and he didn't forget to shout back to his only companion, Zijia, help me. Damn it, if I ran now, I wouldn't be human, Liu Zijia roared. Without hesitation, he charged from cover and immediately activated his ability, Butcher's Insight. His golden vision locked onto the target's weak point. Cheng Zai, strike its backside. Upon receiving the instruction, he didn't hesitate to aim straight for the wild boar's massive rear and thrust. A precise strike caused its health bar to plummet to 35%. The soldiers of the Red Wolf Squad watched in stunned silence. This kid could inflict such heavy damage on a level 10 boss using only a knife. While his ability was active, they wondered what his background truly was. The wild boar let out a pained roar, its entire body glowing red like a mobile furnace. The spiked red demon boar activated its heat flow conversion attribute. Bronze rank, consumes stamina to convert breath into heat waves reaching 140 degrees Celsius. A terrifying wave of heat surged forward. He hurriedly leaped back. That was it, that damn heat wave attribute. Engaging in close combat now would be no different from roasting himself alive. He had to find a way to dodge the frontal assault while delivering the finishing blow. Level 10 monsters can possess two abilities, and it had already used both. Seeing him constantly evade, the wild boar grew more ferocious, charging forward to use its surrounding heat waves to close the distance. But at that moment, the Red Wolf soldiers opened fire again, risking their lives to draw its aggro. You beast, daring to do this to me? I'm no pushover. Kid, the lives of all our brothers are in your hands. Kill it. Feeling their trust and sacrifice, a surge of passion rose within Zhao Cheng. Thank you, everyone. I will give it my all, he roared as all the power within his body was released. System notification. Autonomous research activated, increasing speed by 300%. Flame infusion activated, enhancing the weapon with karmic fire, dealing fire attribute damage. 30% burn chance, reducing maximum health by 3% every 10 seconds. Effects adjusted by the Eternal Evolution book. Its health was at 30%, while he still had 85%. Activating all combat attributes and pouring everything into a single strike, he knew he had to win. He and the beast, two forces of heat and cold, collided head-on. Zai Jia, the weakness. Cheng Zai, look at the position of my stone under its left ribs. A stone streaked through the air, striking a precise spot beneath the beast's left ribs. He pivoted instantly, his hands tightening around his pair of flaming daggers as he lunged toward its fatal weakness. Seizing the golden opportunity, he unleashed a symphony of destruction, slashing repeatedly. His blades transformed into a frantic firestorm that rained down upon the creature's sole weakness, causing its health bar to plummet. Can Zhao Cheng win? Don't lose now, kid. Faster, move even faster. He had to hold out until the beast finally collapsed. Every strike drained his stamina, but simultaneously siphoned away his enemy's life. As its HP hit rock bottom with only a flickering 1% remaining, he summoned his last bit of strength to plunge both daggers deep into its core. The massive bore finally collapsed, the heavy impact causing the ground to tremble as the intense heat and crushing pressure radiating from it slowly dissipated. Cheng, we won? A voice rang out, but his body had reached its absolute limit. Covered in severe burns, he could barely stand, swaying like a crumbling statue as he watched the others rush toward him. Only then did he feel safe enough to slump to the ground, gasping for air. As he slowly recovered, a series of system notifications began to chime repeatedly in his mind. Absolute lead activated. Gained an additional 75% experience. Congratulations, you have reached level 6. Congratulations, you have reached level 7. Eternal Evolution book activated. Please select a new attribute. He had jumped 2 levels at once. Defeating a boss 5 levels higher had yielded an incredible amount of experience. A list of options then appeared. Bronze hardened hide increases defense but has a strange side effect of thick hair growth, a boar attribute. Bronze, bullet composition requires a firearm, an ancient weapon he couldn't afford. Gold, refreshing strike effect unknown. Bronze, headshot strike 2 effect unknown. Bronze, metallic evolution transforms the body into metal. Gold, independent research 2. The effects were unknown. Hardened hide was powerful, but the side effect was too bizarre. Bullet composition was useless to him, but what exactly did refreshing strike mean? Regardless, it was a gold-tier attribute, so he chose it. System notification. You have obtained the gold attribute, refreshing strike. Effect. Reset. Resets the cooldown of all other attributes once. The 30-minute cooldown has been adjusted. This was an incredibly powerful support attribute. He could now use his primary skills in rapid succession. Next, he had to choose between Headshot Strike 2, Metallic Evolution, and Independent Research 2. He decided to upgrade his existing attribute chain and selected Independent Research 2. System notification. You have obtained the gold attribute Independent Research 2. Effect 1. All attributes increased by 45% after adjustment. Effect 2. Enhances a single attribute by 450% for a duration of 3 minutes. Cooldown. 15 minutes after adjustment. Wow, a 45% boost to all attributes. The gold-tier attribute chain was truly on another level. The second effect had also been terrifyingly enhanced. Now that he was level 7, he was only 1 level behind Zhao Zhiji. Zhao Zhiji, you just wait. Suddenly, the ground began to shake violently. What was happening? Was it an earthquake? No, the dungeon boss has been defeated, and this place is about to collapse. Kai and Meng's men staggered to their feet, their wounds still bleeding, but the way they looked at Zhao Cheng had completely changed. Their leader gave him a heavy pat on the shoulder and said, "Kid, you're good. From now on, you are a friend of Kayan, and I owe you my life." He turned back and shouted for his men to retreat, and they obeyed instantly, silently admiring the heroic spirit of the man who had just saved them. Once they were out of sight, Liu Zijia hurried over and asked if Cheng could still move, to which Zhao Cheng replied he was fine despite his heavy breathing. "We need to get out of here quickly," he said, looking around for the treasure chest before she waved her hand to reveal it, offering them their promised share. Zhao Cheng shook his head, insisting that everything belonged to her, including the dagger, as he handed the weapon back. Guanzu took the knife back with a complicated gaze, reminding him of his promise to help her overthrow the management, and vowing to find them at Shelter 226. Westport District, Zhao Cheng noted, saying Liu Zijia had already informed him, but Liu Zijia sighed pessimistically, doubting she would arrive in time. "Once we leave, we will face a life-or-death struggle," she said, looking him straight in the eye and swearing that she would definitely arrive in time. The three parted ways toward their respective portals before the dungeon collapsed, while Liu Zijia voiced his worries about what to do outside, only for Zhao Cheng to reassure him that everything was prepared. Outside the dungeon entrance of Shelter 226, Zhao Ziji and his lackeys were waiting impatiently. As soon as Zhao Cheng and Liu Zijia appeared, he sneered, surprised the two rats had survived, but noting it didn't matter as he gestured toward Liu Zijia. Your parents led a group of awakened rebels, and the manager has ordered that it is better to kill you, he said, confirming their suspicions. Once Uncle Liu learned he had been sent into the dungeon, he took immediate action, prompting Zhao Cheng to speak with a cold tone. Let's deal with these pests and regroup with the others, said Zhao Cheng, who had now reached level 7 and unlocked a series of powerful attributes. His skills included Eternal Evolution Book, Absolute Leadership, Autonomous Research, Head-Shattering Strike, Heart-Piercing Thrust, and Flame Enchantment, while Liu Zijia had reached level 3. Having awakened the Master Butcher's technique, Liu Zijia watched as Zhao Ziji laughed arrogantly, boasting of his level 8 status and his gold-tier extreme speed attribute. You think two pieces of trash like you can take us down? Get them, men, and show these brats the true meaning of despair. Brother Zhao, let us handle this first, a fawning lackey shouted as he charged forward, cursing the amateurs for provoking them and vowing to claim their heads for a reward. But a dark shadow flashed before he could get close. Zhao Cheng drew his blade, his body seemingly merging with the steel as he took a deep breath and lunged into the fray, muttering that they were far too slow. Lightning-fast blade strikes flashed, and within a few breaths, Zhao Ziji's henchmen fell like mown grass. Zhao Cheng stood amidst the carnage, blood still dripping from his blade. Do you think I am still that weakling you can trample upon? His subordinates recoiled in terror at his blinding speed, as one cried out that the portal was vanishing. Zhao Ziji was stunned by the dungeon's disappearance, realizing the boss must have been defeated, and he glared at the two while analyzing the situation. Could someone else have killed the boss, allowing you to leech the experience? It seems you've reached at least level 2 or 3. At that level, ordinary people can't touch you, but before me, you are still nothing but greenhorns. Leeching experience, you say? Liu Zi suddenly burst into laughter, telling Zhao Ziji he was wrong and claiming that he was the one who killed the boss, all while silently praying to himself. Please, Cheng, let me act tough for a moment, he thought, but his words immediately drew Zhao Ziji's attention, who considered that if Liu Zi truly killed the boss, his level would be higher than Zhao Cheng's, so he decided to take down Zhao Cheng first to secure a victory, telling them he didn't mind sharing his intent. The great Liu Zi has awakened a gold-tier attribute. Zhao Ziji, your end is near, he boasted, while the latter ordered his men to kill Zhao Cheng first. Zhao Ziji charged at Zhao Cheng while his subordinates reluctantly moved toward Liu Zi, cursing that the boss slayer must be stronger than Zhao Cheng. They resented Zhao Ziji for sending them to their deaths, but they never expected the expert, Liu Zi, to turn tail and flee instantly. Cheng, I'm leaving them all to you, Liu Zi cried. Zhao Ziji ignored him, focusing all his killing intent on Zhao Cheng as he swung his blade with a roar. His blade was easily parried by Zhao Cheng, leaving him shocked by the boy's immense strength, especially since the misty dark forest was only a white-tier dungeon. The level cap shouldn't exceed 4, so this power couldn't belong to a level 4. Zhao Ziji sneered, assuming Zhao Cheng had a strength-type attribute. However, my extreme speed attribute completely counters you. No matter how great your strength is, it's useless if you can't touch me. He activated his ability, boosting his speed by 30% and turning into a blur that attacked from all sides. Yet the unthinkable occurred. Every single one of his strikes, regardless of their speed, was perfectly blocked or evaded by Zhao Cheng. What is happening? Why? Zhao Ziji screamed internally, unable to fathom how the boy was matching his speed even if he had taken all the experience from the boss. At most, he should be level 4, so how could he possibly keep pace with a level 8 awakened reinforced by a gold-tier attribute? While Zhao Cheng swung his sword with fury, he roared words that cut into Zhao Ziji's mind, reminding him how he had harassed his home ever since his sister left. Every time you showed up, you either ransacked my dilapidated shack or beat me within an inch of my life, just to snatch away my very last supply vouchers. Countless times, you nearly drove me to starvation, and now the horrific memories of those 3 years of humiliation came rushing back, as vivid as if they had happened yesterday. The image of Zhao Ziji violently smashing furniture and grabbing him by the collar while snarling, "Where is it? Where did you hide it?" flashed through his mind. I knew from the very beginning that your target was that awakening stone, Zhao Cheng screamed, his voice cracking with fury. You wanted to steal it, but do you have any idea? That damn thing you covet so much was something my sister sacrificed herself to obtain for me. Shut up, you talk too much. Zhu Zhiji roared, though his eyes were already filled with visible terror. Ignoring everything, Zhao Cheng raised his sword high as the energy within his body erupted. Activating Self-Research 1, Gold Attribute. Activating Self-Research 2, Gold Attribute. Activating Flame Demon Binding, Bronze Attribute. Activating Headshot Strike 1, White Attribute. The sword in his hand glowed with lethal energy. This strike carries all the hatred I have suppressed for 3 years. The fury against the one who tried to steal the only hope my sister left me. Die Zhao Zhiji. The sword descended with wind-splitting speed as Zhao Zhiji realized in horror that Zhao Cheng's velocity was still increasing. It far exceeded his ability to react. No, it's impossible. I can't keep up. The thing my sister left behind, Zhao Cheng hissed through gritted teeth. No matter how much humiliation I must endure, I will never allow someone like you to take it. A perfect sword arc slashed downward. Zhao Zhiji's blade shattered into fragments as the strike continued to tear through his body. Zhao Zhiji, I am returning every insult you inflicted on me today. Zhao Zhiji's body was no longer whole, his head separated from his torso. Fresh blood stained the ground as the 2 remaining lackeys fled in terror. Zhao Cheng turned coldly. His gaze, sharp as a knife, pierced their backs. You 2 also had a hand in bullying me. He hurled the sword, the blade spinning through the air. It traced a lethal curve, piercing through both thugs in an instant. The 3-year-old grudge has finally been settled in full today. That was impressive, Cheng Zai. Liu Zi gave a thumbs up with admiration. Wait, there is something sparkling in Zhao pocket. Is it a treasure? Zhao Cheng leaned down and picked up a blood-stained pearl bracelet. The smile on Liu Zi's face vanished, replaced by sheer panic. That belongs to my mother. The 2 of them snapped to their senses. Hurry, Liu Zi cried out frantically. My mother must have been taken to the management area. This is her favorite bracelet. She would never give it to anyone else. Mother, you must be safe. Yizai, do not worry too much, Zhao Cheng reassured him. Aunt Zhang must still be alive. Cheng Zai, are you sure? Cheng Zai never makes baseless claims. He must have his own reasons for saying that. Liu Zi thought to himself, trying to stay calm. Our settlement is sparsely populated, so women are considered vital reproductive resources. Zhao Cheng explained coldly that Aunt Zhang was beautiful, so her life wasn't in danger even if Uncle Liu was caught. Shut up. Liu Zi snapped that such analysis only made him more anxious before they both rushed through the ruins in silence. They rushed toward the management area and soon approached management room 226 in the Zhejiang district. Liu Zi, Zhao Cheng, a familiar voice called out. Zi. It was Zio Yu and several other residents. Run away quickly, something terrible has happened. Zio Yu, why are you all here? Liu Zi inquired about Uncle Liu, and Zio Yu frantically explained that he had led a group to besiege the management area to fight the officials, but his side was losing. Zhao Zhiji is leading men here to arrest you, so leave now before it's too late. But when asked about his parents, Zio Yu called Liu Zi's parents heroes. A man interrupted with a shameful expression, admitting they were too useless to follow Uncle Liu against manager Fan Dehu and his lackeys. Another person added that Jiang Kun and Zhao Zhiji were both awakened, while they were just ordinary people who couldn't possibly resist them. Old Liu heard you were sent to the dungeon and gathered the brothers to overthrow that bastard Fan Dehu, but they were simply too powerful. You must run because you can't beat them. But Liu Zi gritted his teeth and refused to flee while his parents were there, vowing to die with them. He turned to Zhao Cheng and told him that since he had killed Zhao Zhiji, he should find a way to leave this place and search for his sister. There was nothing left for him here, but Zhao Cheng shook his head firmly, remembering how Uncle Liu helped him and Aunt Zhang treated him like her own son. He looked Liu Zi in the eye and said he wouldn't be human if he left now, especially since Liu's family secretly fed him every time Zhao Zhiji robbed him, and furthermore, without Fan Dehu pulling the strings, Zhao Zhiji wouldn't have dared to be so arrogant, so this grudge belonged to both of them. Cheng, Liu Zi said emotionally with reddened eyes, we will face life and death together, while the bystanders were shocked by their conversation. They wondered if Zhao Cheng really killed the level 8 awakened Zhao Zhiji, noting that the boy's gloomy aura had become quite terrifying as the scene shifted. Liu Fu, you certainly have a lot of nerve, mocked Fan Dehu, a portly man sitting arrogantly in his chair. Fan Dehu, level 10. Position, manager of residential area 226. Attribute, giant body transformation. Gold tier peerless bravery. Liu Fu, Liu Zi's father, shouted that this man had killed his mother, implicated many others, and was now harming his son. Covered in wounds, Liu Fu roared that Fan Dehu's tyranny forced him to revolt, but Fan Dehu just sneered that he could always have another son. Fan Dehu remarked that Liu Fu's wife was beautiful and offered to spare him if he kowtowed, provided he left her behind, but Liu Fu refused to submit to such scum. Fan Dehu heartlessly threw Aunt Zhang to the ground, mocking Liu Fu for not appreciating the mercy he was shown. and laughing at his futile resistance. "If you're so capable, come at me instead of hitting a woman," Liu Fu roared, and Fan Dehu smirked, finding the suggestion reasonable. He decided to kill the husband first and then enjoy the wife, claiming he would give Liu Fu a quick death before flicking 2 iron beads from his hand. They flew at a terrifying speed. "A Huan, don't cry," Liu Fu said, smiling at his wife one last time. "In the next life, I will still be your husband." Clang! A sharp metallic ring echoed as a sword flew out of nowhere, intercepting the 2 spheres hurtling at breakneck speed before circling back to his hand. He stood there with an icy gaze and a voice that seemed to rise from the depths of hell. "Fan Dehu, I have come for your lives." Every eye turned toward him, and Jia Zai, a henchman, sneered. "Oh, so it's just 2 brats. You actually made it out of the dungeon alive." Uncle Liu, Jia Zai's father, turned pale with shock and fear. "Zhao Cheng, why are you here? Leave now, run away quickly." "No, father," Jia Zai said, standing tall beside him while raising his slingshot. "We can't leave. Cheng Zai and I came here to save everyone." He immediately activated his attribute, his eyes flashing with golden light as he locked onto his target. "How dare you touch my parents? I'll kill you all," he shouted, his voice thick with resentment as a projectile shot out like lightning toward Fan Dehu. The man dodged with a slight tilt of his head, while a nearby subordinate swung a sword to shatter the projectile. "You've barely awakened some power and already think you're a god of this world." But the shattered projectile was not the end. A thick cloud of smoke suddenly erupted, obscuring everyone's vision. "A smoke grenade? It's a diversion, a feint to the east to attack the west. Don't let them rescue those awakened ones." From within the smoke, he lunged out like a phantom, his blade pointing directly at the speaker. "I am your opponent." The man looked at him with a composed, smug expression. "To catch the bandits, one must first capture their king. Killing this leader will settle everything. You want to be my opponent? You aren't qualified yet." But as his blade was about to reach the man, another dark figure appeared like a flash of lightning, intercepting his attack. The impact was so powerful it forced him back several steps. This person was faster and stronger than Zhao Zhiji. It was Jiang Kun, the most capable henchman and the trump card Fan Dehu always relied on. Jiang Kun, level 9, title, Mad Dog. Attribute, Golden 3-man crowd. He can split into 2 avatars that possess 70% of the original's power, sharing a telepathic connection. In the entire residential district, his reputation for brutality was even more terrifying than that of the leader, Fan Dehu. He was the enforcer of every atrocity, the blood-stained blade of this tyrannical regime. Countless people had been crippled by him, and many lives had ended under his blade. Everyone here gave him a chilling nickname, Mad Dog, for once he bit down, he would surely tear away a chunk of flesh. Sparks flew as their swords clashed. "I didn't expect you to block my strike." "Who are you?" Jiang Kun asked, narrowing his eyes. "You don't need to know," he replied coldly, "because soon you will be just like Zhao Zhiji, a corpse beneath my feet." "I know now," the man sneered. "You're Zhao Cheng, the scum who sold out his own sister for an awakening stone. Zhao Zhiji mentioned you before. It's a pity he never found the stone you traded your sister for." A surge of fury erupted in his chest. System notification. Activate Bronze Flame Enchantment. Activate Bronze Headshot Strike. His blade erupted in a furious blaze. "What's wrong? Are you angry? Did I strike a nerve?" He continued to provoke, but the young man remained silent, lunging forward like a flaming arrow. "Come on, kid," Jiang Kun thought as he parried, secretly astonished that the boy's offensive rhythm remained steady, proving he wasn't provoked at all. On the contrary, once he activated his ability, I found it difficult to withstand. Despite being only 15 or 16, his mind is incredibly cunning and profound. He must not be allowed to grow any stronger. Jiang Kun roared, activating his own ability as 2 clones split from his body. Each clone possessed 70% of his original strength. "Kill him!" The 3 figures charged at once, prompting the young man to defend while analyzing this strange ability. Just then Yizai's voice rang out. "Zhao Cheng, I've rescued my father and the uncles. Hold on." "Yizai, don't," he shouted back. "Kill Fan Dahu first. Forget about everyone else. I can handle this man alone." "So your true objective was to rescue those old awakened ones?" Jiang Kun's voice was full of mockery. "But did you think we were foolish enough to let you succeed so easily?" "Zhao Cheng, this is bad." Yizai's voice turned frantic. "Father and the uncles are all vomiting blood. They've been poisoned. These bastards poisoned them." "As I suspected," he ground his teeth. Fan Dahu burst into laughter with a smug expression. "Did you really think I was a stupid dog? I prepared for this move long ago. I've met many geniuses like you over the years. From the moment you entered the dungeon, I anticipated this situation would occur. Chu Zhiji was merely a pawn to test your strength." He turned to Jiang Kun. "Kun, I told you that Zhao Kid had talent. Do you believe me now? Recall your clones, I have a few words for him." "Understood, big brother." One of Jiang Kun's clones vanished as his true self approached Fan Dahu. Fan Dahu looked at Zhao Cheng and said, "You are quite the hero." The Liu family's affairs have nothing to do with you. Drop your weapon now and Chu Ziji's position will be yours. This really has nothing to do with Zhao Cheng, Yizai thought. Our plan was to rescue the elders to balance the scales, but now they have become a burden. If Zhao Cheng is forced to stay, he will only face death. Son, Uncle Liu whispered weakly while grabbing Yizai's hand. Do not involve Zhao Cheng in this. This is a matter for the Liu family alone. Father, I know what to do. Yizai turned toward him, his eyes brimming with tears. Zhao Cheng, put down your weapon. It isn't worth dying for my family. You will always be my brother. Drop your blade, it's your best option. Jiang Kun sneered. This kid is a survivor of the apocalypse. He knows the choice. To live, one must bow and serve others. But the young man suddenly burst into laughter. With a look of disdain, he roared, Liu Yezi, what the hell are you talking about? Betraying brothers and forsaking benefactors. She never taught me to live like a dog. If we just kill all these bastards, we can all survive, he said, turning around and pointing his flaming blade directly at Fan Dahu. Zijia stared blankly at his resolute back. Cheng, it turns out you're just a fool, Fan Dahu growled. In that case, let's take him down together. Jiang Kun stepped forward, his blade gleaming. Understood, brother Hu. I'll personally take his head and present it to you as a trophy. He glared at him with murderous intent. This time, you will certainly die. What a coincidence, Zhao Cheng replied with a cold smirk. I was thinking the exact same thing. Immediately, he activated his skill. Self-research, head-crushing strike. Skill effect, strength surges by 300% for 90 seconds. A violent surge of power erupted from Zhao Cheng's body. He channeled force into his legs, cracking the ground beneath him as he lunged toward Jiang Kun like a cannonball. Sensing the sudden, ferocious aura, Jiang Kun was struck with terror and hurriedly raised his sword to block. With a deafening metallic clang, Jiang Kun was forced back several steps. His arms went numb. He couldn't believe what had just happened. Why did this brat's strength suddenly triple? He was being completely overwhelmed. In terms of raw power, he speculated frantically. Wasn't his attribute just flames enveloping his blade? Could that have been a mere trick? This strength-enhancing ability must be his true trump card. That cunning brat, Jiang Kun hissed, deliberately using a smokescreen to deceive me. Waiting for the critical moment to unleash your real power to finish me off. HMPH, he sneered. But don't forget, I still have 2 clones for support. Even if you've grown stronger, you're still no match for me. 2 clones immediately swung their blades from the flanks, launching a pincer attack. Zhao Cheng was forced to leap into the air to evade. His attribute is too troublesome, he cursed inwardly. If he were alone, I'd have finished him easily. I need a plan. Seeing Zhao Cheng suspended in midair, Jiang Kun's henchman behind him saw a golden opportunity. Quick, seize the chance and use all your strength to shoot him down. He's in the air and can't dodge. A volley of crossbow bolts whistled toward Zhao Cheng. He realized that although these men weren't awakened, they were extremely well trained. As lackeys for the management class, they were well fed and possessed physical capabilities far beyond ordinary people. Swoosh, swoosh, Zhao Cheng swung his blade, cutting down several arrows. However, moving and dodging in midair was incredibly difficult. One bolt grazed his shoulder, leaving a trail of blood. At this speed, he couldn't block them all. We hit him, hurry! The crossbowmen grew even more excited. Aim for his head, blow his eyes out. Poisoned arrows continued to fly as Zhao Cheng began to fall. He considered throwing his blade to take out the 2 crossbowmen, but if Jiang Kun blocked his path, he would lose his weapon and be vulnerable. Just then, stones flew from nowhere at incredible speeds, shattering the volley of arrows aimed at him. Zhao Cheng immediately recognized that it was Liu Zijia. Cheng, you are right. If we slaughter them all, we both survive. Liu Zia's voice echoed from a distance. Seize the chance, for they are full of weaknesses. With those words, Liu Zia hurled several bags of powder, creating a thick cloud of dust right in front of the crossbowmen. Another smoke bomb? Jiang Kun grew wary, but then realized something was wrong as a subordinate cried out, Wait, Brother Kun, that bastard used lime powder. My eyes burn so much I can't open them. Zhao Cheng smiled faintly, remembering that Liu Zia had awakened 6 months before him. Though his level hadn't risen much, his cautious nature meant he had prepared many tricks that were now proving incredibly effective. Taking advantage of the enemy's confusion, 2 of Jiang Kun's dark shadows lunged at him, but their slow speed revealed they were merely clones, so he decided to cut one down first. He stepped back and swung his blade at the clone, but despite being wounded, it didn't slow down since clones felt no pain. Merely injuring it was useless, as he needed to completely halt its movements. With that thought, Zhao Cheng exerted his full strength and delivered a horizontal slash that severed the clone in 2, causing Jiang Kun's true body to suddenly tremble the moment the duplicate was destroyed. His face turned pale as he clutched his chest and gasped for air, stammering, Zhao Cheng, what did you do to my clone? While Zhao Cheng immediately deduced the truth. realizing that destroying a clone inflicted backlash on the original body. He knew he couldn't stay still, and immediately shifted his focus toward the henchmen who were still blinded by the lime powder. "Zhao Cheng is over there. Aim carefully," someone shouted, but it was too late. As his power-up was nearing its end, Zhao Cheng charged into the crowd and swung his blade without mercy. "I will settle the debt for all the years you served as lackeys for the wicked today," he declared, just as Jiang Kun suddenly blocked his path, thinking to himself that even with one clone destroyed, he wouldn't let the brat escape. "I cannot summon another until the cooldown ends, so I must kill him right here, or else I will be the one who ends up dead," Jiang Kun realized grimly. His remaining clone lunged from behind, but without even turning around, Zhao Cheng delivered a thunderous kick that sent it flying just as the surge of power within him began to fade. As the violent energy within his body dissipated, Jiang Kun laughed triumphantly and sneered. "Kid, it seems your power-boosting attribute has a time limit, doesn't it? The aura on your blade has weakened. An awakened below level 10 only possesses a single attribute, so I want to see how you intend to block my next strike now." He poured all his strength into a level 9 strike, certain of his victory. Yet Zhao Cheng only watched him coldly as an even more terrifying aura began to surge from within. He activated his second skill, self-research, Abyssal Heart Thrust, which caused his strength to skyrocket by 450% for the next 3 minutes. A violent surge of power erupted from Zhao Cheng and flowed into his blade, shattering Jiang Kun's sword like glass and leaving the man to stare in horror at the fragments scattered on the ground, gasping. "How is this possible? His strength is even more monstrous than before," Jiang Kun realized, just as Zhao Cheng's ice-cold voice echoed across the battlefield. "I wonder if you can withstand this single strike of mine." He concentrated his entire strength into a final blow, his blade tracing a perfect arc that sliced through both Jiang Kun's true form and his remaining illusory clones. "It appears you cannot withstand this." Void circle slash. A brilliant red mist of blood erupted, a scene of absolute carnage. As the dust settled, only a mangled corpse remained. Liu Fu, Zia's father, coughed as blood trickled from his mouth, realizing he had actually succeeded. "When did that boy grow so strong?" "Big brother," someone nearby whispered. "The juniors on your side are truly formidable. Perhaps we truly will be saved today." Amidst the scene, Fan Dahu remained lounged in his chair, clapping mockingly, noting that he had even managed to kill Jiang Kun. Zhao Cheng walked slowly toward him, his blood-dripping sword dragging along the ground to leave a chilling trail as he declared it was his turn next. He spoke every word like a death sentence, stating that the crimes he had committed in this residential area for years must finally be paid for. "Crimes?" Fan Dahu burst into laughter, explaining that he became the manager after the old man died, and while many had perished in this area, others had arrived. He claimed to be a benefactor of this slum, then angrily delivered a heavy kick to the unconscious Aunt Zhang. He added that without his fearsome reputation, this woman would have been snatched by dogs from other districts, prompting Liu Zi to scream at the scum to stay away from his mother. Liu Zi roared, drawing his slingshot to fire an energy-wrapped stone directly at Fan Dahu's head, but the man caught it easily with his bare hand. "Trying to blow my head off. A brat with your pathetic strength is nowhere near qualified," he sneered, leaving Liu Zi stunned. He had caught the stone bare-handed, even though the attack carried a weakness detection effect that even Zhao Cheng would struggle to block, yet he did it. "Let me teach you a lesson on what true power looks like." Fan Dahu smirked before hurling the stone back. The stone flew with the speed of a bullet, its violent force tearing through the air until Zhao Cheng appeared at the critical moment to shatter it with his sword. "Zi, use a smoke grenade to blind him. He is at least a level 10 awakened, so we must use every trick to win," Zhao Cheng urged, and Liu Zi quickly loaded one. Before he could fire, a massive shadow lunged as Fan Dahu targeted Liu Zi, slamming his head into the ground with one hand and shattering the concrete. "How could I let a pest like you interfere?" he growled, while a horrified Zhao Cheng immediately charged to slash at Fan Dahu's back. However, the giant simply turned and blocked the blade with a single hand, sending a terrifying shockwave of force surging up Zhao Cheng's arm. His arm trembled uncontrollably from the immense power, making it clear why Jiang Kun was so easily discarded, yet his own level could not exceed level 8. Was this the true disparity between levels? His strength surpassed even that boss wild boar, representing the complete physical transformation that occurs after level 10. "You have killed Jiang Kun and vented your rage, so your anger should have subsided by now," Fan Dahu suddenly proposed. "Join me, and I will let you stand as my equal. In just a few days, I will give you a life you never dared to dream of." "That is absolutely impossible," Zhao Cheng shouted in his face. You have caused the deaths of so many. The population might not have decreased, but the newcomers are all scum just like you. They are your henchmen, committing every evil act from oppression to looting. I will never collude with a filthy person like you. HMPH, so you want to be a hero? Fan Dahu sneered. In that case, I shall grant your wish. A terrifying aura erupted from his body. The cruelty of the apocalypse is not as simple as you think, kid. Without ruthless measures, our settlement would have been devoured long ago. Activate. Gigantification, golden attribute. Effect. Health and defense increased by 50%. His body expanded, his muscles bulging like forged steel. Is this only his first attribute? Zhao Cheng gritted his teeth while activating demon-binding flame, causing fire to erupt along his blade. I protect a bunch of useless people like you, and all you have to do is hand over some supplies. It is a fair trade, so why the resentment? Fan Dahu roared as painful memories suddenly flooded his mind. Dad, you got hurt fighting people again. These are not wounds, my son. They are medals for protecting everyone. Your father is the hero of this settlement. He recalled the image of his battered father dying in a hospital bed. A hero? He laughed bitterly. To think such a hero died so miserably right before my eyes. It is pathetic. There was no actual benefit at all. Nothing but meaningless words of gratitude. That was no medal. It was proof of his stupidity. Only a fool like my father would take pride in protecting a bunch of worthless people and hope to be their hero. You want to be a hero too? He lunged toward Zhao Cheng, swinging a fist as massive as a boulder. I despise people like you who want to play the hero. Go to hell and be one to your heart's content. Zhao Cheng quickly crossed his arms, focusing all his strength to block the blow. Thud. His power had not changed. It seemed his first attribute only increased his endurance, not his strength. Zhao Cheng thought to himself, in that case I will put everything on the line. Activate. Nova Reset Silver Attribute. All attribute cooldowns have been reset. Fan Dahu, do not think you are the only one who possesses attribute powers. Activate Independent Research I. Effect 2. Strength increased by 300% for 1 minute and 30 seconds. An even more terrifying surge of energy erupted from Zhao Cheng's body. Fan Dahu felt a heavy pressure as his massive frame was forced backward. His feet plowed deep into the ground. Can this brat still increase his strength? He was stunned. Is this a burst attribute? It could no longer be hidden. He told himself that to deal with someone like Fan Dahu, he had to go all out from the start and never give him a single moment to breathe. Within his chest, a violent energy exploded. System notification. Activate Independent Research II. Effect 2. Strength enhancement increased by 450% for 3 minutes. Power surged through his veins. He let out a roar and delivered a devastating downward strike. The force was so immense that it caused the giant Fan Dahu's legs to buckle. What is happening? He was terrified. His strength, how did it multiply several times over in an instant? Even the webbing of my hands is numb from the shock. You give him no time to think, unleashing a relentless barrage of storm-like slashes as fear becomes visible in Fan Dahu's eyes. This kid is definitely a problem. This is definitely not the power an ordinary attribute could produce. Otherwise, it would be impossible for me to be unable to withstand a single strike from someone below level 8. Furthermore, the flames on his blade cling to my body without going out. It must be some kind of sorcery. He realizes that if he keeps stalling, he will surely be the one to die, so he must use another tactic as his cunning eyes dart toward Yi Zai. That brat is the prey. Zhu Cheng, do not underestimate me. Fan Dahu bellows, activating his second attribute. Fan Dahu activates the Golden Tier Valiant attribute, increasing strength by 30%. Since his second attribute only offers a slight boost, it seems I far surpass him in attribute quality. Seizing the opportunity, you charge forward like a fiery whirlwind, aiming directly at his old wound. But Fan Dahu grits his teeth as a cruel glint flashes in his eyes. Now is the time. I will endure some injury to seize a chance. He doesn't defend at all. Your blade bites deep into his shoulder, but simultaneously he uses that very wound to break free, lunging toward Yi Zai like a wounded beast. This is bad. He intentionally sacrificed his own arm to escape, and his target is Yi Zai. Fan Dahu's remaining arm has already tightened around Yi Zai's neck as he pants heavily, enduring the agonizing pain. If I hadn't crippled my own arm, you never would have fallen for it. Zhu Cheng, drop your blade, or I will snap his neck this instant. Fan Dahu, I never expected you to be this despicable. You roar, the fire of rage in your heart burning even more fiercely than the flames on your sword. Despicable, he sneers, his face contorted in pain. In this apocalypse, the survivor is the strong one. Drop the sword or I'll crush his throat right now. You hesitate, your mind in turmoil. Once the sword is dropped and the attribute's effect ends, I will no longer be his match, but if I don't, Yi Zai will die. What should I do? At that moment, Uncle Liu, Yi Zai's father, clutches his wound and growls out Fan Dahu's name. Do you know why we only resisted now after you oppressed us for so many years? Is it because you owe my father, Fan Dehu bellows. Yes, he was the hero of this entire residential area, Uncle Liu says with a voice full of respect. Years ago, to resist the looting from Sector 119, he sacrificed himself to prevent a tragedy. And as the son of a hero, we endured your arrogant exploitation through gritted teeth. Because we once believed that one day you would change and become a hero like your father. But a year ago, Uncle Liu's voice drops. I happened to overhear that in just 1 year, the boss would move to Sector 119 to serve as a deputy administrator. Just squeeze this wretched place dry and leave them to rot. Once we're there, our brothers can eat meat to our heart's content, since Sector 119 has a pig farm. You plan to abandon this place and become a dog for the very people who killed your father. Uncle Liu screams. Your mother only passed away because the people from Sector 119 beat her severely. Have you forgotten? Shut up, Fan Dahu roared like a wild beast. That was the price he had to pay. In this apocalypse, playing the hero only leads to a grave. I won't be like that foolish old man, rotting away my entire life in this godforsaken place. As long as I submit to them, a much vaster world awaits me. He turned toward him with a crazed look in his eyes. Zhao Cheng, I'm counting to 3. If you don't drop your weapon, prepare to handle your friend's funeral. Hai Ying grit his teeth, his heart feeling as though it were being crushed. Just as the count of 3 was about to be uttered, the roar of engines echoed from the distance. Several large pickup trucks from Zone 119 were approaching, and Fan Dahu was ecstatic. It's the vehicles from Zone 119. They've come for me. Zhao Cheng, you're finished. He shouted at the top of his lungs. Men of 119, Fan Dahu is here. Come quickly and help me suppress this rebellion. The vehicles came to a halt. The doors swung open, and a group of heavily armed men stepped out. The situation had turned completely against him, with Jia Zai still in that man's grasp. He wondered how he could break this deadlock and survive to seek his revenge another day. But if I retreat, Jia Zai, Uncle Liu, and everyone else here will surely perish. I cannot abandon him. Zhao Cheng, so what if you're a skilled fighter? Fan Dahu spoke triumphantly. Now that I have the numbers, you're a dead man. A young man stepped out from the lead vehicle. He was Jiang Wei. The current manager of Zone 119 spoke. Hey, you baldhead, were you the one calling for me? Ah, Manager Jiang. Fan Dahu immediately changed his tune, hurriedly releasing Jia Zai and rushing over to grovel. I never expected you to come for me in person. He truly was blessed. He hurriedly ran to check on Jia Zai and was relieved to find him still breathing. This man was indeed the manager of Zone 119. The aura emanating from him was even more overwhelming than Fan Dahu's, surpassing even that of the Red Demon Boar boss. With his current level of strength, he stood absolutely no chance of victory. Hey, baldhead, don't try to act familiar, Jiang Wei said coldly. I'm looking for someone. If you can't give me an answer, I will crush your skull. Yes, of course, Manager Jiang, please speak. It was strange. Why didn't the man recognize him? The Lei brothers had clearly stated they mentioned him to this man. Jiang Wei scanned the crowd and asked in a flat, emotionless voice, is there anyone among you named Zhao Cheng? Fan Dahu was overjoyed to see Jiang Wei. He pointed a finger at Zhao Cheng and bellowed, Manager Jiang, it's him. That brat is inciting a rebellion and openly defying the company's authority. The more he spoke, the more certain he became of his good fortune. That's right, Manager Jiang is here to assist me. Zhao Cheng, you're a dead man. Jiang Wei calmly took a long drag from his cigarette, the drifting smoke obscuring his expression. Zhao Cheng, inciting a rebellion, he repeated in a flat, toneless voice. Does he intend to seize control of this residential zone? Exactly, that's the one, Fan Dahu hurriedly confirmed. Jiang Wei's razor-sharp gaze finally shifted toward Zhao Cheng. Are you Zhao Cheng? I am, he replied curtly, his hand tightening around his blade's hilt as he prepared for a life-or-death struggle. Jiang Wei then turned back to Fan Dahu, his eyes filled with utter contempt. I recall that becoming a manager requires being at least a level 10 awakened, yet a mere fledgling managed to sever his arm. Manager Jiang, you don't understand, Before Fan Dahu could finish, a sharp crack echoed as Jiang Yi drew his firearm, declaring that the man was no longer of use. Fan Dahu's lifeless body slumped to the floor, leaving everyone stunned. It seemed he had come to seize the territory and eliminate Fan Dahu simultaneously. Zhu Cheng and Liu Fu grew tense simultaneously, realizing they were likely the next targets, and he appeared to read their very thoughts. Jiang Yi nonchalantly handed the firearm to his subordinate and told Zhao Cheng not to be so tense, explaining that a high-ranking official had issued an urgent order for all nearby residential area managers to immediately report to the Iron Institute for a man named Zhao Cheng. Within residential area 226, Jiang Yi concluded that he had come to assist him, yet Zhao Cheng remained cautious and asked how he could possibly trust him. Jiang Yi chuckled. noting the young man's high level of alertness, and mentioned that the messenger claimed Zhao Cheng would believe him once he saw a specific item. He produced a familiar boss-sensing compass, which Zhao Cheng recognized as Guan Zu's induction needle, leaving him shocked that she had sent help and wondering about the true extent of her background. He had suspected she was influential, but he never imagined she could command the manager of a major residential area like 119, while Jiang Yi added that the prominent figure had also sent several gifts. At his signal, the subordinates began unloading large crates, leaving Zhao Cheng and the others stunned to see supplies like grain, meat, and salt. There was also dried fish and flour, luxuries in this post-apocalyptic world, as Cheng Yi presented a document and seal, explaining that the bald man from before was merely a self-appointed leader without company recognition. He stated that by accepting it now, Zhao Cheng would become the legitimate manager of the area, causing Zhao Cheng to look at the certificate with a whirlwind of emotions. Uncle Liu had risked his life and nearly destroyed his family to seize this authority, yet now it was being offered to Zhao Cheng so effortlessly. Despite his severe injuries, Liu Fu struggled to speak and urged Zhao Cheng to accept the position. Believing himself to be the most suitable candidate, Zhao Cheng took the certificate and silently vowed to find a way to repay the massive debt of gratitude he owed Guanzu. Jiang Yi ordered the medical team to begin treating the wounded, then mentioned that the high-ranking official had one final gift to offer. He explained that acceptance was optional, but it involved traveling to residential area 119 for a trial that, if passed, would grant him the chance to join the Fan Tian Company. The name of the Fan Tian Company resonated like a clap of thunder in everyone's ears, as they were the saviors of the Eastern continent after the apocalypse millennia ago, and were now the absolute rulers of the land. Every residential area, every inch of land, and every life was under their control, and for an ordinary person, joining Fan Tian was a supreme honor that guaranteed food and housing. It also provided security, rare medicines, and precious items to help awakened individuals level up, things that outsiders would never even dare to dream of. Jiang Yi issued an ultimatum, stating the choice was his: remain as the manager of Area 226, or go to Area 119 to seize a life-changing opportunity. Zhao Cheng thought of his sister, who had been taken by company personnel, and realized he had to join the company to find her, making this a golden opportunity. However, as he looked at the anxious faces of the residents and the wounded needing care, he knew the area required a leader after the recent conflict, and Jiang Yi seemed to understand his hesitation. Jiang Yi agreed to wait for 2 days, and as he turned to leave after Zhao Cheng's nod of thanks, he couldn't help but reflect on the situation. It was baffling how such an unremarkable boy could be connected to such a prominent figure, but it didn't matter. I have secured the credit for this assistance, and as long as I maintain a strong bond with this youth, my advancement within the company is guaranteed. Once everyone had been treated and bandaged, Liu Fu gathered them to announce that Zhao Cheng had vanquished the tyrants Fan Dehu and Jiang Kun. With the company's official recognition, we unanimously nominate him, but Zhao Cheng interrupted, stating that Uncle Liu was the most qualified to manage the settlement. When a voice from the crowd argued that the settlement needed a powerful protector, Zhao Cheng explained that he had to find his sister and could not remain. He pointed out that Uncle Liu and the other men of the Liu family were awakened ones with more than enough power to defend the area, causing the room to erupt in chatter. Zhao Cheng's suggestion was like a stone cast into a still pond, stirring deep reflection in everyone as they realized his reasoning was sound. In terms of age, wisdom, and experience, Liu Fu was far better suited than Zhao Cheng, especially since his 2 awakened brothers could help shoulder the burden of leadership. Another person agreed, noting that Liu Fu's gentle nature and selflessness made him the ideal candidate to serve as their manager. Liu Fu shook his head solemnly, asking who could guarantee he wouldn't become another Fan Dehu if given such power, a question that left the crowd in stunned silence. Although Fan Dehu's father had been a local hero, his son had turned into a despot, proving that no one can predict what a person might become. One of Liu Fu's brothers declared that the time had come, producing a stack of yellowed documents as he spoke. He reminded Liu Fu that his son's books described how ancient civilizations used laws to govern, suggesting they adopt a similar system. Holding the papers high, he revealed 15 laws they had secretly drafted, which would be followed by all and updated annually to reflect their changing reality. Liu Fu asserted that a set of rules binding everyone would be far more effective than simply obeying the whims of a single leader. Watching from the corner, Zhao Cheng felt relieved that the educated Liu family was taking over, as their intellect far surpassed his own, allowing him to finally search for his sister. He set the management card on the table, as if shedding a heavy burden, while the others remained engrossed in their debate about the future. He slipped out of the room in silence, realizing that from this moment on, he would no longer have friends like Zi by his side. Just as he prepared to face the road ahead alone, a familiar voice called out as Liu Zi caught up, scolding him for trying to leave without a word. Asking if they were truly brothers, Zi insisted that without his guidance, Zhao Cheng would surely fall into countless traps and be deceived, as he couldn't bear to let him go alone. Zijia looked at Zhao Cheng in surprise and asked if he was there to see him off, but Liu Zijia sneered, saying he was coming along and that he shouldn't think about rising to the top alone. He asked how one could become a great figure without him, and when asked if his parents allowed it, he scratched his head and admitted he had to sneak away. He told him not to worry because he left a letter saying he would return to visit them, and Zhao Yu once he achieved success and fame. He vowed to marry her, but Zhao Cheng urged him to return home before Uncle Liu started worrying. Yet Liu Zijia firmly gripped his clothes. With a burning gaze, he reminded Cheng of the ancient saying that once an eagle catches the wind, it will soar 10,000 miles into the sky. He acknowledged that while Cheng was the eagle, he also desired to soar, as Liu Zijia refused to live an insignificant life in such a vast world. The wind generated by an eagle like him had ignited a fire in his heart, leaving Zhao Cheng stunned that his foolish friend could speak such words. He told him to return if things got too difficult and he wouldn't judge, but Zhao Cheng laughed, saying he feared his friend would be the first one crying to go home. Watching the two youths laughing together, Jianya stood by the door and lit a cigarette, noting as the smoke drifted that a storm seemed to be brewing. As the convoy departed from Settlement 226 to continue their journey, the driver struck up a conversation, remarking on the impressive skills of the two young men. Having driven in Area 119 for years, the driver noted it was his first time on a mission with Manager Zhao, who clearly held the two of them in high regard. As the settlement vanished behind the ruins, Zhao Cheng noticed Liu Zijia staring back in silence, his eyes filled with a sense of longing. Realizing his friend still had ties to that place unlike himself, Zhao Cheng tried to distract him by asking the driver a question he had been wondering about. The driver happily agreed to share whatever he knew. So Zhao Cheng asked if their Area 119 manager had truly killed the previous manager of Settlement 226. Zhao Cheng's blunt question left both Liu Zijia and the driver stunned, causing Liu Zijia to scream internally at how awkward the conversation had become. He wondered why his friend was so socially inept, as the conversation died instantly, while the driver scratched his head and addressed the sensitive topic. The driver explained that Manager Jiang wasn't responsible, as he had taken over 6 or 7 years ago after killing the previous manager of Area 119. He suggested their previous manager was likely the culprit, leading Liu Zijia to mutter about how surprisingly honest the driver was for answering everything. The driver continued, explaining that unlike the former manager who was obsessed with expansion, Manager Jiang focused on internal development. Thanks to his efforts, Area 119 went from starvation to having meat once a month, which was why everyone held him in such high regard. So, Zhao Cheng realized, one can become the new manager simply by killing the current one. I just gave you a whole speech and that's what you focused on, the driver asked in shock. Cheng, you've completely missed the point, Liu Zi said, slapping his forehead. Suddenly, Zhao Cheng sniffed the air, catching a pungent, metallic scent. The beasts are here. Numerous dark silhouettes emerged on the surrounding hills as low growls echoed through the air. Attracted by the engine's roar, they focused their attention on the convoy. Mutant wolves again? Liu Zi muttered. No, those are mutant dogs, Zhao Cheng corrected him. Mutant wolves are much larger and wouldn't be foolish enough to launch a frontal assault like this. They really are mutant dogs. Cheng, you certainly know your stuff. A few of them leaped onto the truck bed. Don't be nervous, the driver said calmly. We ran into them once on our way here as well. Manager Jiang is far more powerful than you imagine. In the back, Jiang Wei spoke slowly. Cover your ears. Understood, boss? Jiang Wei took a deep breath, his chest expanding before letting out an earth-shattering roar. Activating the golden attribute skill, Beast King's Roar, he shouted, "Begone!" An invisible shockwave swept out, blasting the mutant dogs dozens of meters away. Is this a sonic-based attribute ability? Zhao Cheng asked in surprise. That man is truly powerful. I told you so, the driver replied with a proud smile. Those stupid dogs are running away again. A dog is still a dog. Mutation doesn't change their nature. Bai Rong, the deputy manager of Sector 119, watched Zhao Cheng and Zi as retreating figures with a pensive gaze. Big brother, with your power, dealing with those foolish dogs is as easy as turning over your hand. Jiang Wei snorted with a look of contempt. Brother, that Zhao Cheng is a guest of a very important person, Bai Rong reminded him cautiously. Your actions just now were somewhat provocative. You could have controlled the sound waves a bit better. So what? Jiang Wei growled, his irritation evident. He's just a pretty-faced parasite. Does he really think he can go and tattle on me? I fought and bled for every step I've taken to get here. I despise trash who only know how to take shortcuts. But there are no buts, Jiang Wei interrupted. I know how to maintain appearances in public, but don't try to manage me behind the scenes. I, Jiang Wei, intend to climb even higher. That doesn't mean I have to be subservient in everything. As long as I remain useful, those big shots will turn a blind eye to these trivial matters. Soon, the convoy entered residential sector 119, a place far more bustling and orderly. The guards immediately stood at attention. Manager Jiang, thank you for your hard work. Bai Rong then led us to a temporary housing area. All the houses in the residential area are occupied, so you two will have to make do here for now. The room was indeed sparse and covered in thick dust. Zia looked around and chuckled. It's a bit better than your drafty cave. At least this place shields us from the cold wind. Take a look at this tonight, Bai Rong said. Bai Rong handed us a folder. This is the examination guide issued by the company. Be warned, you won't be the only ones participating. Many others will be taking part as well. Zia took it happily. That's great then. While Zia was busy scrutinizing the document, he lay down on the rock-hard bed without a word, seemingly unbothered by the meager hospitality. Bai Rong was secretly amazed he could sleep there, wondering if he was truly a high-profile figures-kept man. Call if you need anything. There are guards outside. Understood, sorry for the trouble. Once the door closed, Yi Zai leaned in close to him. Hey Cheng Zai, the trial is to clear a white-tier dungeon. It seems easy. A level 10 cap shouldn't be much harder than before. Does it say how many participants or slots there are? He asked with closed eyes. No. Then there are two conditions, he analyzed. Kill the boss and survive. Yi Zai was startled. What do you mean? People are coming from everywhere and no one wants to fail. Teaming up is inevitable, but what happens after? When the boss falls, the strongest will be exhausted, leaving an opening for those who want to reap rewards without effort. That phrase reminded him of Guanzu. Why was he thinking of her? Hey Cheng Zai, Yi Zai nudged him with a smirk. That look tells me you're in heat, thinking of that girl. Go to sleep, we have work tomorrow. Come on, at your age, it's easy to get attached. You have to control yourself. She's out of our league. Shut up and sleep. Fine, fine, once we join the company, we'll have status too, elsewhere. Bai Rong reported to Jiang Wei. He didn't show any disdain, but he might just be very good at hiding it. That proves nothing, Jiang Wei said, sipping wine. The company examiner arrives tomorrow. If that kid has talent, let's see it. Boss, why do you care about that Zhao kid? Jiang Wei stared into the distance. I see my younger self in him. The same talent, the same suppression, and the same rebellion. The only difference is his powerful backer, which I never had. Perhaps I'm just a bit jealous. The next morning, hundreds gathered at the white-tier dungeon entrance in a lively atmosphere. With so many guards, District 119 is impressive, Yi Zai noted. Awakening stones are rare for us, but here, it's those who can clear dungeons that are rare. Jiang Wei stepped out, his voice booming. Survive this dungeon, and you will be eligible to join the company. You know the benefits, good luck. Hey Cheng Zai, that Jiang guy is watching us, Yi Zai whispered. It's a provocation, he replied as others rushed in. They shoved their way inside. Hurry, kill the monsters for experience. A provocation, why would he do that? Yi Zai asked. I'm not sure, but he'll likely provide the answer soon. On a nearby rooftop, two figures watched the scene unfold. Young lady, please do not show your face, or the master will be displeased. I am aware. As a judge for this trial, I have only come to observe the situation beforehand. The dungeon's interior was a damp cavern where corrosive yin energy permeated every corner. Do not waste time. Pick a path and enter immediately, someone shouted. Cheng Zai, which way should we go? Jia Zai asked. Just then, a familiar voice rang out, saying that he had finally found the two of them and that it was truly fate. Big brother driver, why are you here? People from Sector 119 are also allowed to participate in this trial, and he wanted to take a chance for his wife and children, he said with a gentle smile. Perhaps we should form a group, as having support is better. He and Jia Zai looked at each other, sharing a silent exchange through their gaze alone. Finally, he nodded. Liu Zijia felt secretly smug, thinking that Cheng Zai understood him and would definitely refuse to let the driver join them. However, Zhao Cheng did the exact opposite of what he expected. He looked at the driver and said seriously that they could let him join, but only on the condition of paying 200 item vouchers. Liu Zijia was stunned, thinking that was not what he meant at all. No problem, the driver replied instantly with a joyful expression. 200 it is, as he earned 800 a month driving for Jiangguan. Fine, Liu Zijia went along with it, declaring they were now a gang with Zhao Cheng as the leader and the driver as the third member. The driver nodded happily about being in a gang. while Zhao Cheng privately thought the term sounded rather strange. Not far away, a girl was secretly observing them. That person's aura is completely different, Hua Xiaoman muttered, noting that her ability allowed her to sense it. She never expected him to possess such a powerful, radiant attribute. Clenching her fists, she struggled with the thought of whether she should join their group. Her chances of survival would be much higher, yet she was not good at communicating with strange men, and the people at the shelter were waiting for her return. She told herself she couldn't die there and had to be strong, while Liu Zijia continued to talk incessantly about the many branching paths in the dungeon. Charging in blindly would likely lead to encountering high-level monsters. He had heard from important figures that this recently appeared place was extremely dangerous. He clicked his tongue with an air of experience, noting that visibility worsened the deeper they went, leaving no choice but to face threats head-on in such an environment. This dungeon perfectly suits my style of fighting on sight, he claimed, while the driver Zhang Dahua scratched his head in admiration, calling him impressive. Jiazai could only intimidate those who didn't know him well, Zhao Cheng thought, shaking his head before suddenly stopping as he sensed something approaching. Had he discovered her? Hua Xiaoman's heart skipped a beat as she wondered if she should reveal herself or if they would mistake her for an enemy. She worried about what to say, but as she hesitated, the ground and walls began to tremble as a swarm of giant rats with steel-like claws between levels 6 and 8 emerged. Realizing he had been talking about the monsters, Hua Xiaoman breathed a sigh of relief. Zhao Cheng quickly ordered Liu Zijia and the driver to handle the 2 low-level rats while he dealt with the largest, most muscular one. He told them to just hold them off until he finished his fight, but Liu Zijia hesitated, noting their levels were much lower than the enemy's. The driver anxiously asked what they should do if the level 8 beast stalled him, as they would surely die, but Liu Zijia suddenly got a sharp look in his eyes. Liu Zijia cleared his throat with the air of an expert, declaring it was his time to shine, and citing an ancient strategy called Tian Jai's horse race. He explained they would use their inferior horses to stall the enemy's superior horses, while their own superior horse quickly eliminated the enemy's inferior ones. Then their superior horse would return to finish the match. The driver's head spun from the confusing talk of superior and inferior horses. When the driver asked how to distinguish them, Liu Zijia explained that high levels were superior horses and low levels were inferior ones. Zhang Dahua looked at Liu Zijia and suppressed a laugh, asking if he was their inferior horse just as the massive level 8 rat roared and lunged. Liu Zijia gulped, his face turning pale as he told Zhao Cheng to handle it because he couldn't win, suggesting they stick to Zhao Cheng's original plan. As all 3 rats charged, Zhao Cheng realized this dungeon was much more dangerous than the last, while Liu Zijia screamed for the driver to protect him. Liu Zijia shouted that he would aim for their eyes, and quickly fired 2 stones that struck the low-level rats directly in their sockets. As the rats stumbled, Zhang Dahua praised the young man's aim and told him to follow closely so they could maintain their distance. Liu Zijia ran, determined not to be a burden to Zhao Cheng any longer and to use his own strengths to control the battlefield. Meanwhile, Zhao Cheng faced the level 8 rat, which roared and activated its bronze-tier demonic haste, boosting its damage and speed by 15%. Zhao Cheng remained unfazed as he activated his flame enchantment, meeting the beast head-on and splitting it in 2 with a single flaming strike. His self-researched attributes had pushed his physical stats far beyond his level, and this mediocre monster was no longer a match for him. A notification appeared stating he had slain a level 8 steel-tied rat, and absolute leadership granted him a 75% experience bonus. Zhao Cheng reached level 7 with 34% experience, then realized he needed to hurry back and help Liu Zijia since his level was still low. When Zhao Cheng turned around, he saw the strange sight of Liu Zijia perched on Zhang Dahua's shoulders, shouting for the driver to keep running. Their situation seemed better than he had imagined, but then Zhao Cheng noticed something unusual about the speed of the 2 remaining rats. Compared to the one he just killed, these were at least 30% slower. Since their levels weren't that different, such a massive gap in speed shouldn't exist. He narrowed his eyes to look closer, wondering why their noses were twitching so strangely, and if someone was secretly using an elemental ability to interfere with their sense of smell. Someone in the shadows was lending a hand, which at least meant they weren't hostile, so he decided to follow them while Liu Zijia's voice continued to ring out, shouting for them to watch his shots. He would wait until these 2 rats were dead before finding that person to get some answers, as Liu Zijia repeatedly drew his crossbow, sending energy-infused stones flying like shooting stars. The stones slammed accurately into the eyes of the two giant mutant rats, prompting Zhang Dahua to exclaim that his young brother's marksmanship was truly impressive. Liu Zijia smirked with pride, boasting that as a golden attribute awakened, these lowly rats weren't even worth his concern. However, after taking the hits, the two monstrous rats seemed to be communicating in their own language, complaining about the pain and fearing they would be shot to death if this continued. Deciding they had to use that move, they suddenly stopped, leaving Liu Zijia surprised as to why they were no longer giving chase. Immediately after, the two rats began digging frantically, their massive bodies quickly sinking into the ground, causing Zhang Dahua to scream that things were looking bad. They were planning an underground assault, so Liu Zijia urged his companion to hurry before they were ambushed, prompting Zhang Dahua to realize the danger and floor the accelerator. A massive dark shadow suddenly erupted from the ground right in front of the vehicle, poised to pounce, and it looked like they wouldn't be able to make it in time. While everyone was paralyzed with fear by the monster above, the ground beneath the car began to shake violently as the other one started to emerge. It was over. Zhang Dahua turned pale as a ghost, lamenting that if anything happened to his precious cargo, his wife would kill him when he got home. From a distance, Hua Xiaoman witnessed the life-and-death situation and realized she had to use all her strength to help them. She closed her eyes and concentrated her energy to activate her golden attribute skill, olfactory manipulation, releasing an invisible scent. An indescribably foul stench suddenly enveloped the two monstrous rats, causing them to freeze and clutch their noses as their bodies convulsed from the overwhelming odor. At that exact moment, a figure blurred past like a bolt of lightning as Zhao Cheng arrived, seizing the golden opportunity to swing his blade. A razor-sharp strike sliced the midair rat in half, activating the skill headshot strike, with effect 1 doubling the experience points gained. You have received an additional 75% experience, bringing the total to 85%. Despite the experience boost, he still hadn't leveled up after killing 3 monsters. Zhao Cheng mused that leveling up truly became harder at higher stages. Just as a tearful Zhang Dahua rushed over and threw himself at Zhao Cheng's feet. "You've arrived. From now on, I'll call you Big Brother, as you're the one who saved my family's happiness." It was only a matter of moments, Liu Zijia thought while looking at the large man. He was weeping bitterly, causing Liu Zijia to shake his head, thinking the man had no future. Suddenly, a beam of light enveloped Liu Zijia's body. "Wow, Chengzi, I've leveled up. I'm level 5 now." Zhao Cheng didn't respond, instead turning toward a nearby thicket and calling out loudly, "Friend, thank you for your assistance. You can show yourself now." Liu Zijia looked confused, wondering if someone else was there, as Hua Xiaoman stepped out from the bushes with a tense expression. "She really is a beautiful lady," Liu Zijia whistled. "Actually, this young master noticed her long ago." Zhang Dahua asked doubtfully, "You noticed her too? Just a moment ago, you looked as bewildered as I did." Zhao Cheng told the girl not to be nervous, noting that since she helped them, she certainly wasn't an enemy. "We owe you a favor for what just happened." Zhang Dahua still didn't understand how she had helped, but those 2 monster rats had suddenly stopped because she acted in secret. Zhao Cheng explained that otherwise the 2 of them would have been injured. Realizing this, Zhang Dahua slapped his thigh in understanding. "I knew it, they were about to catch us when they suddenly stopped. Little sister, you saved my life. You are truly my savior. If we meet again, we will do everything in our power to help you," Zhao Cheng said before turning around. "We must continue our journey now." After saying goodbye, the 3 of them walked away. Hua Xiaoman stood there with her fists clenched, thinking that if she missed this chance, it might never come again. Summoning her courage, she called out, "Can I go with you?" All 3 turned back. Liu Zijia thought Chengzi was a natural lady killer and that having a girl along might be nice. Perhaps she could help Chengzi forget his fantasies about that noble lady. Zhang Dahua spoke up, "Big Brother, she just helped us and is quite fragile. Why don't we let her join us? We are about to challenge a boss, which is extremely dangerous and could cost us our lives." Zhao Cheng replied coldly. "I know. I came here to challenge it too," the girl stated firmly. "I'm not afraid to die. My family in residential area 347 is waiting for me to bring food back. Failing them would be worse than death. Please let me join you. I'm sorry, but no." This is completely different from what I expected," Liu Zijia muttered, stunned. "Can you tell me why?" Hua Xiaoman asked with a trembling voice. "First, I cannot guarantee your safety, so I won't make any promises. Second, your presence would make our group more conspicuous, which isn't necessarily good. Third," Zhao Cheng paused and looked into her eyes, "Jiang Yi in Area 119 is a decent person. If your residential area needs food, just ask, and he will surely help. Is what you're saying true? You're not just rejecting me because I'm too weak. Your ability is very unique. You're certainly not weaker than my 2 companions," Zhao Cheng said, glancing at Liu Zijia and Zhang Dahua. "Whether you believe me or not, judge however you wish." "How annoying, how dare she look down on this young master," Liu Zijia muttered. "Compared to him, we really are pathetically weak." Zhang Dahua admitted it honestly. I see, Hua Xiaoramen said with a relieved smile. Thank you for telling me this. You are a good person as well. I hope we meet again. She turned and left as Liu Zijia watched her walk away. He muttered, I can see your feelings for that wealthy young lady are truly deep, since you even rejected such a wonderful girl. Zhao Cheng patted his shoulder. Jia Zai, you aren't weak at all. Those words stunned Liu Zijia, but he soon broke into a wide grin. HMPH, you're just saying that. I know my own worth. Their relationship is certainly unusual, Zhang Dahua thought. Just like Boss Jiang and Boss Bai, he is the type of person others follow with sincerity. Along the way, Liu Zijia leaned toward Zhao Cheng. He whispered, Cheng Zai, I'm curious about something. You want to ask why I let Zhang Dahua join us, right? Because he belongs to Jiang Ye. What? Although Jiang Ye's intentions were unclear, a mere driver being entrusted with a vehicle full of precious supplies was unusual. He was definitely a trusted confidant. Sending such a person along showed that he valued them. While walking, Zhao Cheng suddenly tripped over something. Whoa, what is this? How dare you block my path? Liu Zijia shouted, but he went silent the moment he saw what was beneath their feet. It was a corpse. This person is from our settlement. Zhang Dahua recognized the victim. She was quite strong, reaching level 9, and she was traveling with a group. How could she die here? Zhao Cheng knelt to examine the body. There are wounds from monsters, but the fatal blow was dealt by a sharp human weapon. Cheng Zai, look over here. Liu Zijia pointed toward a thick thicket. So many dead. It's as if someone intentionally hid the bodies here. Zhang Dahua turned pale as he recognized the remaining corpses. It was their entire team. He hadn't expected them all to perish here. Their team even included a level 10 Awaken. It was clear that someone had taken advantage of their severe injuries. They were ambushed after fighting monsters, Zhao Cheng concluded. I've seen this mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind scenario many times. But there is another possibility, he said, looking at Zhang Dahua. The ones who killed them might be their own enemies from within Settlement 119. It seems your Sector 119 isn't as united as it appears, Zhao Cheng said, his voice dropping. Just as he finished speaking, the cave ceiling shook violently and stone dust rained down. An ear-piercing drilling sound erupted, as if a massive drill was boring straight down from above. Cheng Zai, look up, Jia Zai screamed. A mutated monster burst through the rock. It had the body of a giant rat, but its head was replaced by a spiral horn that resembled a drill bit. Drill-headed vicious rat elite, level 10. A level 10 monster. Could this be the creature that attacked the previous group? The rat gave them no time to think as it lunged. Its drill-like head aimed directly at Zhang Dahua. With a swift movement, he dashed forward and swung his sword to block the powerful strike while pushing Zhang Dahua away. Move. This creature's strength is overwhelming, easily rivaling the previous red demon pig, yet it is merely an elite monster. From a hidden vantage point, two figures watched. Oh, isn't that Zhang Dahua, Manager Jiang's trusted aide? We'll stick to the plan. Wait for them to exhaust one another, then move in to finish them all off. The frenzied rat lunged forward, startling the two onlookers. What on earth is this? Is that thing even still a rat? Amidst the chaos, he was busy analyzing the hidden enemy. If his assessment was correct, the villain intended to wait for them and the beast to destroy each other, marking him as a truly devious strategist. He is likely still lurking nearby, watching in secret. To avoid being disturbed during the final boss encounter, it is best to deal with him right now. First, he would use this monster to stage a performance and bait the man into acting. He charged forward, feigning assistance to set up a fake death. Where was its weakness? The plan was this. He would pretend to be gravely injured to lure the snake out of its hole. Then he would counterattack to finish it off. This was the tactic his sister had taught him for hunting mutated vultures, and it was perfectly suited for this situation as well. Cheng Zai, watch where I'm aiming. Jia Zai activated his ability, sending a stone whistling through the air to strike the monster's chest, though its health bar only dropped by 1%. However, he had already identified its weak point. He had to control his striking power and avoid killing it outright. If he showed too much strength, that man wouldn't take the bait. One of his slashes only dealt about 15% damage. At the same time, he intentionally left a fatal opening, and the rat did not miss the opportunity. Torn gored him directly, leaving a deep wound. Jia Zai roared, his eyes turning bloodshot. Damn you, how dare you hurt my brother? Die, you beast! Young man, don't! Zhang Dahua shouted, trying to stop him. You'll only draw its attention, but it was already too late. Although Jia Zai's stone dealt negligible damage, it successfully enraged the monster. It turned its head, its crimson eyes locking onto Jia Zai and Zhang Dahua. "It's over, it's looking this way." As the crazed rat charged, he shouted, "Jia Zai, run!" It seemed Jia Zai truly believed he was gravely injured, which was why he was acting so recklessly. If he revealed the truth now, the plan would be ruined. Why wasn't this kid being more clever when it mattered? It was moving too fast. Jia Zai muttered, his face pale, yet he refused to retreat. "I'm not afraid of you, pig-headed rat." Just then, Zhang Dahua unleashed incredible speed, grabbing Jia Zai and narrowly dodging the attack. A deep crater appeared where they had just stood. "Are you insane? That's a human-level monster," Zhang Dahua exclaimed, looking at Jia Zai. He couldn't help but admire them. Their bond was stronger than he thought, a true life-and-death friendship. The battle turned into a chase as Jia Zai continuously pelted the monster with stones. He slowly chipped away at the monster's health, while Zhang Dahua used his superhuman speed to help them evade. "Damn, Mr. Driver, how are you so fast?" Jia Zai was shocked. "Aren't you only level 5? You're even faster than Cheng Zai." "Sorry, little brother," Zhang Dahua explained while running. "I'm actually level 10 with the extreme speed attribute. If we survive, I'll explain everything." Zhang Dahua level 10. Attribute: Golden Extreme Speed, Agility plus 30%. "All right then, Mr. Driver." The two of them worked together, one attacking while the other moved. Their coordination was seamless, and the rat's health bar continued to drop. Although they had the upper hand, Jia Zai worried that Cheng Zai had taken a direct hit. They couldn't afford any more delays. Losing too much blood would be dangerous. He had to finish this monster quickly, but as he reached into his pouch, his expression suddenly changed. "Oh no, I'm out of stones." At that exact moment, the predator lurking in the shadows finally made his move. "Stupid rat, you've been led around by the nose all day and still haven't finished. Let me give you a hand." A stone flew out of nowhere, striking Zhang Dahua directly in the ankle. He stumbled and fell, taking Jia Zai down with him. The rat seized the opportunity and lunged, its fanged maw appearing right before their eyes. It seemed all was lost as Zijia closed his eyes. Yet in that life-and-death moment, he still screamed for Zhao Cheng to run. But death never came. A flash of light streaked past like lightning, intercepting the rat and splitting the level 10 monster in two with a single strike. He then intentionally stumbled and coughed up a mouthful of blood to make his condition look even more pathetic, knowing the hidden enemy would only grow more delighted. Although Zijia's reaction was a bit exaggerated, it made the performance appear incredibly authentic, for only by showing enough weakness would the fox reveal its tail. "Cheng, are you all right?" Zijia rushed over in a panic. Zhang Dahua stared at him with eyes full of astonishment. To be able to slay a level 10 monster while severely wounded, this youth possessed extraordinary combat talent and was destined to become a prominent figure. Zhao Cheng sat down on a rock, his breathing heavy but his gaze remaining sharp. "Don't worry, I won't die just yet." A warm surge of energy began to spread through his body, mending his injuries. Leveling up provided a recovery effect, which had also triggered when he defeated the Red Maha. By killing a level 10 elite monster and gaining the bonus from absolute leadership, he would surely reach level 8. A system panel appeared before him. "You have slain the level 10 elite monster, the great-headed savage rat. The brilliant attribute absolute leadership has been activated, increasing experience gained by 75%. The experience received was amplified, and Zhao Cheng rose from level 7 to level 8. The Eternal Evolution book opened once again. 3 new attribute options shimmered into view. 1. Gold tier fire tempering effect unknown. 2. Gold tier valiant prowess providing a 30% increase to strength. 3. Gold tier independent research effect unknown. Warning, this is the final link in the independent research attribute chain. Once obtained, chain fusion can be activated. Without a second thought, Zhao Cheng chose the third option. Chain fusion was a brand new concept, but it was bound to be extraordinary. He understood how different he was from the rest. After awakening, ordinary people must reach level 10 to receive a new attribute. To collect all 3 links in a single chain, they would need to reach at least level 30. Congratulations, you have collected the entire independent research attribute chain. Activating fusion. Fusion? I'm already considered a freak among the older awakened. Zhao Cheng thought to himself that being able to activate chain fusion at level 8 meant he possessed an ability others had to grind until level 30 to obtain. A brilliant glow from the individual attributes began to blend together. "Come on, let me see what you will fuse into." Seeing Zhao Cheng standing motionless and bathed in light, Liu Zijia felt both joy and concern. Cheng has leveled up again. This will help him recover. That's great. Now his gaze shifted toward Zhang Dahua, filled with scrutiny. There were still a few other matters to settle. He was clearly one of Jiangya's men, yet he had hidden his level. Although he showed no ill intent and even lent a hand, What was his true purpose? Sensing Liu Zijia's gaze, Zhang Dahua chuckled and pulled a package of dried meat from his pocket. "Young man, my wife prepared this. It can help you both recover your strength." "Speak plainly," Liu Zijia interrupted. "Why did you hide your level and follow us? It certainly wasn't for some nonsense reason like chivalry, was it?" Before Zhang Dahua could explain, a sinister voice rang out. "Emerging from the cave's shadows, one is severely wounded and the other two are useless, making this the perfect moment for us brothers to strike." Two figures lunged forward, radiating intense killing intent, declaring that by Lord Hai Li's command, everyone from Sector 119 must be executed without mercy. "Who are these people? Be careful." As Zhang Dahua reacted instantly, activating his extreme speed attribute to grab Liu Zi and narrowly dodge a lethal strike. "Oh, Zhang Dahua." One of the attackers recognized him, noting he was much faster than before, or else he would have died like the others, revealing themselves as Lei Changshu and Lei Jiankang. Zhang Dahua gritted his teeth, recognizing the two powerful subordinates of Hai Li, the deputy manager of Sector 119, both of whom had reached level 10. "So it was you two lurking in ambush to slaughter your own comrades. Manager, Jiang will never let you get away with this." Liu Zi asked if they were acquaintances, and Zhang Dahua quickly explained they were Hai Li's men, mortal enemies of Manager Jiang, describing Hai Li as an extreme warmonger. He always opposed Manager Jiang's ideals, and even while Zhao Cheng was in the middle of merging, he heard everything, realizing Hai Li was Jiang Yi's greatest rival. It was highly probable that he had secretly conspired with Fan Dahu, meaning the debt for oppressing the people of Sector 226 also rested on his shoulders. The Lei brothers roared that a dying man had no right to judge their boss before ordering their execution, prompting Zhang Dahua to grab Liu Zi and flee at maximum speed, shouting that they must survive first and explain later, though it was futile. Lei Changshu sneered that they couldn't escape his attribute field as he raised his hand to shoot sticky spider silk that sealed the cave entrance, making Zhang Dahua realize his speed would be severely restricted. Without his speed advantage, he was absolutely no match for them, and the two Lei brothers quickly caught up to Zhang Dahua. They told him to choose a better boss in the next life before they beheaded him for a reward, while Zhang Dahua apologized to the young man. In that life-or-death moment, Zhang Dahua threw Liu Zi toward Zhao Cheng, telling them that they were both destined for greatness. He urged them to escape while he risked his life, asking that if they survive, they tell his wife and children that Zhang Dahua was no coward. He turned to face his death as the Lei brothers' two sharp blades swung down simultaneously, with them mockingly promising to deliver his message. They intended to kill the rest afterward, but at that moment, two small stones whistled through the air and struck their blades with incredible force, emitting a loud clang. Clang, both of them roared in fury, demanding to know who dared to ambush them, and if they had a death wish as the two assassins swung their swords to counter. Their swords collided with Zhao Cheng's weapon, creating a piercing metallic clang as a terrifying force surged through, leaving their hands completely numb. One of them thought in horror that the blow was too heavy, especially since this dimensional dungeon was only supposed to allow awakened individuals below level 10 to enter. But this brat's power clearly exceeds level 10. "You little punk, you're already this badly injured, yet you still want to meddle in the affairs of our District 119. The leader roared, but as he watched Zhao Cheng stagger with his many wounds, he secretly calculated that the boy was severely injured and likely just putting on a brave face. He would stall for time until the wounds worsened, then it wouldn't be too late to find an opening to behead him. "The driver is our friend." Zhao Cheng finally spoke, his voice weak but resolute. "I don't like seeing my friends die before my eyes, so this is not meddling." Hearing those words, tears streamed down Zhang Dahua's cheeks. "Big brother," he choked out, "how could someone like Manager Jiang be a kept man for some powerful figure? He is clearly a genius youth just like you." "Hey kid," the leader snapped impatiently, "since my brothers and I are in a good mood, we're willing to spare your lives. I suggest you take your lackey and get lost." Zhao Cheng signaled to Liu Zijia, who understood immediately. Liu Zijia smirked and provoked them in return. "Sorry, but we're in a terrible mood right now, and we have no intention of letting you leave here alive." "Then it seems I must deal with you two first." The leader grew furious. "Kill them all. Anyone who opposes us must die. You refused the path to heaven and barged into hell instead." He unleashed razor-sharp spider silk toward the two of them. Although his power was immense, the leader's own injuries were also quite severe. "If we truly risk our lives, we will be the victors," Liu Zijia calculated. Before they struck, Zhao Cheng suddenly spoke up. "I have a question. Do you know a man named Fan Dahu?" "Fan Dahu," the leader sneered. "That idiot from District 226 in the western border. Now that you mention it, Lord Hao Li sent my brothers to conduct a deal with him." "What kind of deal?" Naturally, for the wild vegetables, ferns, and genetically modified cassava your District 226 produces, the other man explained gleefully. We used a few cheap supply coupons to buy up those precious foods, simply by promising him a chance to move to District 119. He was as obedient as a dog, handing over all the people's food to us. Ha ha ha. So, Zhao Cheng gritted his teeth, his words hissing through his teeth. You were also among those who oppressed us and drove us to a dead end. If you had revealed your identity sooner, we could have avoided all this trouble, the leader said condescendingly. I know your District 226 is suffering. Now behead this driver and bring his head to me. I will let you join District 119 under Lord Hao Li's command. Cheng, I can't take this anymore, Liu Zijia roared, his eyes bloodshot. It turned out these bastards also played a part in her death. I must kill these two bastards today? A glowing stone shot forward, but the henchman easily sliced it apart with his sword. Another stone user. But this strength is weaker than my younger brother's scratching, he thought. The only real threat was that injured man. He just needed to provoke him until his wounds reopened further. Stalling for a bit longer will make it easy to decapitate him. Zhe, find me his weakness, Zhao Cheng shouted, and Liu Zhe immediately activated his attribute. Activated, Master Butcher's Dissection Effect 2, Weakness Detection. Neck, heart, head, strike wherever you want, he yelled loudly, intentionally letting the enemy hear. Zhao Cheng had purposely told him to shout. Though he was usually reserved and spoke little, it did not mean he was incapable of rage. In that case, I'll strike all three spots. Boss, kill the younger one first, he's weaker, Zhang Dahua shouted from behind. The henchman flew into a rage and turned his blade toward Zhang Dahua, vowing to kill him first, but a dark shadow flickered past the moment he turned. Zhao Cheng appeared beside him instantly, and with a single slash, the henchman's body was split in two. Brother, the leader roared in horror, unleashing spider silk. The sharp threads immediately bound Zhao Cheng's legs and one of his arms, yet he merely responded with a cold smirk. Activating the bronze attribute, Demon Binding Flame, a blaze erupted and incinerated the spider silk instantly as Zhao Cheng charged forward, denying his opponent any chance to resist. Seconds later, he stood over the corpses of the two assassins, remarking that they were weaker than expected, partly because they had underestimated him due to his severe wounds. Furthermore, Zhao Cheng felt a new surge of power within him, as the Radiant-grade limit-breaking tech attribute fusion had been successfully activated. This attribute was formed by fusing Independent Research 1, 2, and 3, with its first effect providing a limit-breaking boost that increased all his stats by 150%. The second effect, Limit Break, could simultaneously enhance 3 different attributes by 600% for 5 minutes, with a 30-minute cooldown. Using 3 gold attributes into a single Radiant Grade 1 demonstrated the terrifying power of the attribute fusion chain. Seeing Zhao Cheng swiftly deal with the two powerful enemies, Zhang Dahua and Liu Zhe breathed a sigh of relief as Zhang Dahua began collecting the loot. Is someone as formidable as the boss always this frugal? Zhang Dahua asked, to which Liu Zhe replied that it was his habit, as only a fool would leave items behind. Zhao Cheng inventoried the haul, finding dried meat and 200 item vouchers. He offered Zhang Dahua a share, but the man declined, noting that Zhao Cheng had done all the work and that if he carried the Lei brothers' gear, Hao Li's men would never forgive him, and since his family was in District 119, he had to be careful. Zhao Cheng agreed and then mentioned the monster rat he had searched. There seems to be information hidden within its drill bit. Both of you should come and touch it to see if it's some treasure or opportunity the beast was guarding. Liu Zhe was excited by the prospect of hidden information, while Zhang Dahua curiously reached out to touch the metallic drill bit. You have received a special item, Ferocious Rat King's Drill. Description: this item serves as the key to the Earth Cave Rat Tribe's treasure and will be useful if the hoard is found. Wow, I knew I was right, Liu Zijia exclaimed. This truly is a rare and fortuitous treasure. The Earth Cave Rat Tribe is the collective name for the monsters in this dungeon. Usually, treasures are found where the final boss resides. Yet this time, we managed to obtain the key beforehand. Zhao Cheng tucked the stone into his bag and looked at Jia Zai. I hope this treasure contains a weapon suitable for you. The monsters ahead will only get stronger, so we must get you equipped soon. Hearing this, Jia Zai couldn't help but feel moved. He didn't expect this kid to care about him instead of just his own strength. I really do need a decent weapon. Using this slingshot forever doesn't suit my noble status. Turning to Zhang Dahua, he added, furthermore, I fear there are more than just those 2 spies planted in your sector. There must be other moles. Do you want to leave first to inform Manager Jiang? That is exactly why I cannot leave, he sighed. Big brother, your skills are extraordinary. But this little brother, he glanced at Jia Zai, is still too weak. If I withdraw, he will surely become a burden to you. Hey, are you insulting me to my face? Jia Zai barked, jumping up. Huh, little brother, I didn't mean it like that. He is absolutely right, Zhao Cheng calmly interrupted. So let's keep moving. How is he right? Jia Zai grumbled. Don't push me. Once I get serious, I'll dazzle your eyes. Ancient texts say a scholar must be viewed in a new light after 3 days. Do you understand? Yes, you're right, Zhang Dahua chimed in. Just you wait. I will repay this humiliation 100-fold. 30 years east of the river, 30 years west of the river. Do not look down on a poor youth. Jia Zai lifted his chin, reciting a string of spirited quotes. You speak so fluently. Did you read all that in ancient books? Zhao Cheng asked, amused. You're just jealous of my refined culture, aren't you? As we walked, the three of us suddenly stopped. Ahead was a horrific scene with dozens of corpses scattered about. So many people died again. Jia Zai stammered. Zhang Dahua examined the bodies, his expression turning grave. They aren't from Sector 119. These are outsiders. Their supplies had been completely looted. This was pure slaughter for gain. The killers stole resources while eliminating their competition. It seemed the Lei brothers were merely an appetizer. He thought to himself that the true massacre had begun. Just then, his ears twitched. After breaking his limits, his hearing had become much more acute. He raised a hand to signal the others to stop. There is a fight happening up ahead. Let's wait and see if we can profit from this. Hiding behind a boulder, we saw a familiar figure being backed into a corner. It was Hua Xiaoramen. Another woman, scantily clad and heavily made up, was closing in on her. You ugly brat, stop struggling in vain. Hurry up and die so we can go inside to fight the boss. Is that her? Our paths cross again. I didn't expect her to make it this deep alone. The woman's 2 henchmen charged toward Hua Xiaoramen. Die, you poison-using wench. You won't escape. My strength is completely spent, Hua Xiaoramen thought in despair. She couldn't even use her elemental abilities anymore. Everyone, I can't bring the food back. I should have listened to him and retreated to find help first. Just as the enemy's blade was about to strike her, a dark shadow flashed by. Slash, slash, the 2 henchmen collapsed silently to the ground. Open your eyes. You aren't dead yet. Hua Xiaoramen looked up, her tearful eyes filled with shock. Is it you? You all came here too? Yeah, step aside for now, this time. He would help her. The woman watched her 2 subordinates fall without showing any panic, even flashing a seductive smile and thrusting her chest toward him. Young man, you have quite the skills. Do you want to? She suddenly activated her ability, pink hearts floating from her body. Have some fun with me. Cheng Zai, be careful. Boss, watch out, that woman's power might be mind control. Jia Zai and Zhang Dahua rushed forward to shield him. However, they were enveloped by those pink hearts. Zhang, these 2 idiots. The woman clicked her tongue. My ability only works when the opponent is off guard. You've ruined my plan. The 2 of them immediately turned to attack him, but with his current speed, they were nothing more than clumsy puppets. Wait, she shouted as he closed in. Please listen to me. This will definitely be beneficial for you, not harmful. If you kill me now, you will surely regret it. Speak then. My ability is very special, and I am from Sector 119. She writhed, trying to show off her sultry curves. If you kill me, my boss won't let you off. Why not let me follow you instead? This man is cold-blooded. I can only use my beauty to seduce him first. Once inside, Brother Jun's men will deal with him. Is that all? His voice was icy. Deeper inside, everyone belongs to my boss. Taking me along only benefits you. Loners like you will only find death if you go in. My boss ordered that the entry slots for the company this time must belong to Sector 119. If we become a couple, you'll be one of us. Hua Xiaoramen looked at him anxiously. In these times, many women did such things to survive. She hoped he wouldn't be enchanted by her. Is your boss also like Hai Li? He asked. My boss has far more seniority than scum like Hai Li, she boasted. She smirked. Even manager Jiang has to call my boss Brother Jun. Fine, I understand. Thinking he had relented, she smiled flirtatiously. It seems you are truly intelligent. With the 2 of us working together, there's no need to worry about getting into the company. But her only response was a cold sword strike. Slash, her body fell, the smile still lingering on her lips. Wasn't the deal she offered quite good? Why did you still kill her? Hua Xiaoramen couldn't hide her confusion. Cheng Zai calmly wiped the blood off his blade and explained clearly. First, she wanted to kill you, and I promised to help you once. Second, someone who tried to kill me and control my friends could never cooperate sincerely. Third, and most importantly, he had no desire to be a lapdog for anyone named Huang Jun, nor did he intend to join Sector 119. So that's how it is, Hua Xiaoramen thought to herself. His logic was incredibly rational, reliable, yet somewhat terrifying. At that moment, Liu Zijia and Zhang Dahua regained consciousness from their controlled state. My head hurts so much. What did you just do? What happened? It seemed you were about to attack Cheng. That woman's elemental ability had taken control of you, Zhao Cheng explained. Since she could do it once, she could do it again, so he acted to prevent any mishaps. Zhang Dahua suddenly realized with a start that she was the woman of Deputy Manager Huang Jun. By killing her, you've offended 2 of the 3 leaders of the residential zone. It doesn't matter, Zhao Cheng replied. Once I secure a spot in the company, I will be leaving this place. The 3 leaders, Liu Zijia interjected. Are you just talking about Jiang Yi, Hao Li, and that Huang Jun fellow? That's right, Zhang Dahua confirmed. They are the 3 powers controlling Sector 119, but their differing views keep them in constant conflict. Then it's clear, Liu Zijia deduced. The ones setting traps here are Huang Jun and Hao Li. Jiang Yi knows Cheng's background is extraordinary and dares not act recklessly, but those other 2 are different. Cheng, just keep pretending you have an illustrious lineage. In society, one's identity is whatever they create for themselves. Big brother, little brother, if we go further, will be surrounded by a mob of Awakens. Are we really going to keep heading deeper inside? Zhang Dahua asked anxiously. I must make it into the company, Zhao Cheng declared firmly, his gaze fixed on the depths of the cavern. My sister is still waiting for me. Wherever Cheng goes, I go, Liu Zijia said, thumping his chest. Then I'm going too. Senior Hua Xiaoman hesitated. Can you really not take me with you? Don't get too close. Zhao Cheng said, keep your distance and use your abilities to provide cover. That is the best way. Yes, I will do my utmost not to be a burden to you, Senior. Seeing this, Liu Zijia nudged his friend's shoulder. What's this? Feeling pity? I thought only your sister held a place in your heart. It will only get more dangerous from here, Zhao Cheng replied, ignoring the teasing. With her here, your safety will increase by a fraction or 2. HMPH, as if this young master needs a woman to protect him. Senior, since you have agreed, Hua Xiaoman spoke up. Then I won't hide it anymore. There are actually a few others here. She activated her golden scent tracking attribute, and a faint fragrance began to spread. Immediately, everyone sensed the presence of others hiding nearby. I didn't expect so many people to be concealed here, and all of them are wounded. That's right, we were all driven back from the front. A severely injured man spoke up. Securing a spot in the company is truly a life-and-death struggle. But those bastards are despicable. They didn't just set traps. They even posed as support personnel sent by Sector 119. As a result, they took advantage of my lapse in focus and severed one of my arms. After speaking, the young man coughed up a mouthful of blood. That woman from before brought her henchmen here, intending to slaughter them all to silence them. Hua Xiaoman further explained. I couldn't bear it, so I stepped in to help. They no longer have the strength to compete, yet those people still won't let them go. What should we do now? Liu Zijia wondered. Leaving them behind means they will die, but escorting them out would be too time-consuming when we still need to hunt the boss and claim the treasure. Hua Xiaoman watched Zhao Cheng with anxiety, knowing he was terrifyingly rational and wondering if he would make a heartless decision. Abandoning us was clearly the best option for them. But Zhao Cheng remained silent for a moment before reaching a decision and looking toward Zhang Dahua and Hua. Driver, Miss Hua, and brother Chu Feng, it is too dangerous to go any deeper, so I am entrusting you to lead these people to safety. Understood, Zhang Dahua replied instantly, while Hua Xiaoman breathed a sigh of relief, glad that he wasn't the cold-hearted person she feared. Manager Jiang, this youth is just like you, treating ordinary people with humanity. Then Chu Feng called out to Zhao Cheng, offering something from his pocket with a weak smile. I obtained this after slaying an elite steel-tied rat, and since it is useless to me now, take it as a token of my gratitude for saving my life. Zhao Cheng pulled out an old piece of animal hide, prompting Liu Zijia to exclaim in shock that it was a map to the hidden treasure of this dungeon. It turned out the treasure was kept separate from the boss, and having just acquired the drill key, obtaining this treasure map was a stroke of incredible luck. Zhao Cheng quickly formulated a plan, instructing Jiazi to go search for the treasure while he headed toward the boss's lair. Are you insane? Liu Zijia shouted, arguing that going alone was suicide given the unknown dangers. But Zhao Cheng countered that securing the treasure would boost their strength and odds of victory. Zhao Cheng reassured him that he would adapt and not take unnecessary risks, prompting Liu Zijia to grit his teeth and admit that Chengzi was right. Realizing he couldn't face level 10 enemies at his current level, he decided that retrieving the treasure was the only way to help as he identified its location. Chengzi, wait for me, Liu Zijia shouted before running off, leaving Zhao Cheng to venture deeper into the cavern alone. As he progressed, the number of human and monster corpses increased, while the eerie silence suggested the heli group had already cleared the path. Thinking that Jiazi would be safer because of this, Zhao Cheng narrowed his eyes as a world-shaking roar erupted from ahead, signaling he had reached the boss's domain. From a high vantage point, Zhao Cheng watched the fierce battle below where a massive boss, covered in wounds, had only about 15% of its health remaining. A group of people was surrounding the creature and unleashing their final strikes against the dungeon boss, whose strength was nearly depleted. He calculated his move as the leader of the group shouted for everyone to give their all to kill it. But Zhao Cheng knew he couldn't let the boss fall just yet. Zhao Cheng narrowed his eyes, realizing that if the boss died now, he would have to face them all alone, so he needed the beast to stall them while he picked off the weaker ones. Since they were willing to murder innocents for profit, his actions were merely carrying out justice on behalf of heaven. His targets were the 3 weakest men guarding the perimeter. They remained oblivious to the Reaper approaching from behind. "Once we slay this boss, we'll qualify to join the company," one of them gloated, thinking of the many wanderers they had killed. "Finally, our efforts are paying off," the second man added. "With a position in the company, my status in the residential zone will rise to a whole new level. When that happens, I'll snatch a dozen girls to play with as I please." The third man laughed lewdly, but a voice as cold as ice rang out behind them. "Unfortunately, you won't have the chance to leave." 3 flashes of a blade sent 3 heads tumbling to the ground before they could even realize what had happened, and those fighting the boss immediately sensed Zhao Cheng's presence. "I didn't expect a survivor to make it here. Old Liu, my brothers, handle that brat while old Zhang and I finish the boss's help," the leader shouted. "Where did this stray dog come from to ruin our plans?" Liu Beiwu, level 11, roared as his muscles surged, activating the gold-tier skill Valiant Might, which increased his strength by 30% for 15 minutes. The 2 archers, Ma Fei and Ma Zhuang, instantly drew their bows as their arrows glowed with energy, shouting to see if he could withstand their combined assault. However, Zhao Cheng moved like a phantom, gliding with terrifying speed to evade Liu Beiwu and reappeared directly in front of Ma Zhuang. With a single sword strike, another life was extinguished. "Too weak," he muttered. "Now it's your turn," while Liu Beiwu warned the others not to hold back against this unusual opponent. Liu Beiwu roared as Ma Fei, the remaining Ma brother, gritted his teeth and unleashed an attack, activating the gold-tier skill Explosive Knife. The effect increased damage by 50% with an added explosion, while Liu Beiwu shifted his focus and activated the gold-tier skill Frost Fist. This skill boosted damage by 55% and added slowing and freezing effects. Zhao Cheng knew that long-range Awakeners were typically very weak in close-quarters combat. He calculated that they would surely die once he closed the distance, moving like a weaver's shuttle to dodge the incoming arrows and freezing strikes. As he closed in, the leader shouted that the boy was dangerous, but old Zhang replied that the boss was the priority. Even if the others died, killing the boss would secure their entry into the company. The leader silently agreed that old Zhang was the only one who saw the big picture, continuing his relentless assault until the boss's health bar dropped to 6%. Meanwhile, Liu Beiwu and Ma Fei grew increasingly panicked as Zhao Cheng drew near, cursing that they no longer had any room to retreat. "Let him taste our deadliest arrow," Ma Fei screamed, pouring all his energy into a single shot, to which Zhao Cheng merely questioned if it was truly their best. Thinking it was a good chance to test his current physical limits, Zhao Cheng suddenly stopped and refused to dodge, letting the arrow explode against his chest in a terrifying blast. "That kid didn't dodge. He's a complete lunatic," Liu Beiwu stammered, while Ma Fei sighed in relief, noting that if he had dodged, they would surely be the ones dead. As the smoke dissipated, a streak of light flashed past, and Ma Fei collapsed with his throat slit by a single blade as Liu Beiwu shrieked for his brother. "The advancement granted by limit-breaking technology is far beyond my imagination," Zhao Qing said calmly, while the other man roared. "You bastard, you're going to the grave with my brother." But before Liu Beiwu could even unleash a technique, another sword strike finished him. "When you slaughter others, you should know that a day like this would eventually arrive. Limit-breaking technology has elevated my physical attributes to a new level, enough to withstand such attacks without even activating an active skill. If I were to trigger the limit break, how much greater would my power become?" He glanced at the final 2 men, knowing he had to slay the boss first to secure his position in the company. Old Zhang and the leader were still preoccupied with delivering the final blow to the boss. But when the boss's health bar hit 1%, it suddenly dropped its weapon. Clutching its head, it let out a soul-shattering scream of agony. What was happening? Was it begging for its life? Boom! The cave floor shattered. A massive battle axe slammed down as an even more ferocious and gargantuan monster emerged. The Giant Rat King, a level 13 hidden boss. Finding 2 bosses in a single dungeon made old Zhang and the leader break into a cold sweat. The Giant Rat King swung its axe, unleashing an earth-shattering strike that forced them to retreat in a panic. "Are you trying to hide?" a raspy voice growled. The powerful voice emanated from the Giant Rat King itself. Stunned that this second boss could speak human tongue, they realized they had to eliminate one of them first to avoid disaster. "I didn't expect it to speak," old Zhang remarked. "We must kill the weaker one first." "You wish to kill her?" the Giant Rat King roared, shielding the first boss with its axe. "You'll have to step over my corpse first. This beast is too powerful. It took us half a day just to nearly defeat the other one," the leader thought. Just then, while the Giant Rat King was focused on the 2 men in front of him, Zhao Cheng had already circled around to the rear. Seizing the moment while the first boss was left unguarded, he lunged forward. "I'll be taking this head," he declared. With a single sword strike, the weakened boss's head rolled away. "That bastard stole our spoils again." The leader was livid, but old Zhang held him back, a cunning glint in his eyes. "Don't be hasty. That boss saw the one who just died as its mate. By doing that, he has made himself the primary target for the giant Rat King's wrath. We can just sit back and enjoy the show." Enraged by the provocation, the giant Rat King let out a heaven-shaking roar and charged straight at him. "Human, die?" Yet he did not flinch in the slightest. He proactively charged forward to meet it head-on. Just how powerful was a level 13 boss? He had to see if he could withstand its might. Boom! A single swipe of its claws made the earth tremble, sending him flying backward. He was inwardly shocked by its immense strength. Base attributes already varied between individuals, and after leveling up, the power gap became even more terrifying. A pure head-on duel was out of the question. Brother Jun's two subordinates watched from a distance with worried expressions. Based on its aura alone, this Rat King was twice as powerful as the previous sharp-toothed rat. Without the Ma brothers' support, it will be difficult for just the two of us, they realized. The giant Rat King continued its frenzied charge, screaming, "I want your head." This time, however, he stopped facing it head-on. Its strength was monstrous, but its speed wasn't particularly remarkable. As long as he focused on dodging, it wasn't difficult. While evading, he calculated that those two must have realized the situation. They couldn't kill this boss on their own. They needed him. However, the moment the boss fell, they would undoubtedly turn on him. Just as he predicted, one of them called out, "Hey brother, we're all here for the company recruitment. This boss is too strong, so why don't we join forces? We can temporarily overlook the fact that you killed our comrades." Everything was going according to plan. In this world, there are no permanent enemies, only permanent interests. "Fine," he replied curtly. "We'll kill the boss together first. We can settle everything else later." The two men exchanged glances, communicating silently. Zhu Ka, the kid, agreed. "Proceed as planned." "Understood. Once the boss's health hits 10%, we'll take his head." "Brother, we're here to assist you." The three of us plunged into the fray. We coordinated to whittle down the Rat King's health bar. When its HP dropped to 76%, it let out a roar, its entire body radiating a dark aura. The Rat King activated its bronze-rank demonic attribute. Damage increased by 15%, speed by 15%. Lasting for 15 minutes, its prowess surged instantly. A single tail sweep sent all three of us flying back, coughing up blood. However, it was merely a minor injury. We quickly regained our footing and continued our relentless assault. The other two also began to reveal their trump cards. Zhu Ka activated his gold-rank Valiant attribute, boosting his strength by 30%. Zhang Ji activated his bronze-rank Extreme Strength attribute, gaining 40% strength at the cost of 20% speed. Driven into a corner, the Rat King gave one final roar as its body began to swell unnaturally. The Rat King activated its gold-rank Special Boss attribute, Rat King's Physique. HP increased by 50%, strength by 30%, and size by 40%. Humans witnessed the true form of this king. Its health bar shot up from 48% to 98%. Damn it, is its second attribute really that terrifying? This is an attribute exclusive to bosses. Stop holding back. Give it everything you've got, or we'll lose our lives here. The two men no longer dared to hide their skills. Zhu Ka activated his gold-rank 10 Directions Shadow Guard. He summoned 10 shadow clones, each possessing 30% of his strength. Zhang Ji activated his bronze-rank Burning Blade Wind attribute, his weapon unleashing fiery gales that caused burns. Charge, kill it. All three parties clashed once more. Those two noticed he hadn't activated a second attribute, likely assuming he hadn't reached level 10 yet. He calculated his moves silently. Let them keep thinking that. He would wait until they thought he was exhausted. That would be when they made their move. The battle grew more chaotic than ever before. The Rat King's health bar plummeted rapidly. Finally, it was down to just 13%. Only a little more left. Give it your all to finish it off. He intentionally lunged forward, leaving a massive opening as if he were spent. At this stage, you two should be making your move, shouldn't you? It happened exactly as he predicted. Old Zhang, strike now. Two sharp blades from opposite sides slashed toward him simultaneously. He feigned terror. What are you doing? Weren't we supposed to be working together? Working together? Zhu Ka sneered. Does a brat who hasn't even reached level 10 think he's worthy of teaming up with us? You killed our comrade and took the spoils. What makes you think you can join forces with us? That's true, he smirked, his gaze turning razor-sharp. Coincidentally, I never had any intention of truly siding with you either. His true power erupted, easily shredding the shadow clones. My shadow guards, you still have strength left. So what? The gap between level 10 and those below is like heaven and earth. Even if you have strength, you're no match for us. Besides, the boss behind you is also aiming for your life. Treacherous humans, how laughable. The Rat King also lunged forward. If he were an ordinary Awakened, there would truly be no way out. He spoke calmly, his voice as cold as ice. Unfortunately, I am not like them. System notification. Activating Radiant Fusion, Effect 2, Limit Break. Agility, strength, and stamina are boosted by 600% for 5 minutes. I am no saint. But I know that to defeat evil, one must be 10 times more wicked. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the cave, the map indicates the treasure is just ahead. I just hope I don't run into any monsters. Without my driver here, I won't even be able to run away. Suddenly, Liu Zijia's expression shifts as he catches the scent of blood. Terrified, he clasps his hands in prayer, invoking the ancestors of the Xiao, Yi, Shi, and Lin families, along with all the gods and Buddhas. Please protect me and keep the monsters away. After finishing his prayer, he creeps inside only to witness a gruesome sight. A treasure chest sitting amidst a pile of human and monster corpses. Phew, that was a close one. Liu Zijia sighs in relief. Praying to the gods really does work. No wonder the ancient texts always mention it. He scans the area, noting that the map had dropped from a steel-clawed rat. They must have come here after finding it, only to be killed by the chest's guardian. I thank you three for clearing the path. This young master will remember your sacrifice. He rushes excitedly toward the chest, but suddenly stops. How do I open this? The chest looks much larger than the key I have. Instinctively, Liu Zijia tries pressing the horn of the drill-headed fierce rat into the lock. Do I need to use force to make a miracle happen? Instead, the moment it touches the lock, the hard horn transforms into a beam of light and solidifies into a perfect key. Oh, this key is quite sensible. Liu Zijia grins, wondering what kind of treasure awaits inside a gray dungeon chest. Last time, I gave the Wolf King's chest directly to Guan Zhu without even looking. He eagerly opens the chest to find an exquisite crossbow emitting a green glow. Silverstone crossbow, green grade. Type, ranged weapon. Damage, 300 plus 120% of the user's strength. Special effect, when used with black feather arrows, it deals an additional 200 fixed damage. A crossbow. This young master is finally in luck. Liu Zijia joyfully examines the crossbow. With this, I finally don't have to use that pathetic slingshot anymore. Lu Cheng just wait for this young master to make a kingly return. Just as he finishes speaking, a giant rat lunges from the shadows. So, you've come to me. Perfect timing to test this crossbow's power. Liu Zijia raises the weapon and activates Butcher's Insight, causing the rat's fatal weak points to become clearly visible. Base damage is 500, plus 120% of my strength, with an additional 200% damage for hitting a weak point. Let's see if you can survive this. With a whistle, the arrow tears through the air and strikes the weak point perfectly. The giant rat lets out a single shriek before collapsing dead on the ground. Liu Zijia stands stunned before jumping for joy. Holy crap, a one-shot kill. This thing is incredibly powerful. No wonder Lu Cheng has been unstoppable since he got that dagger. A good weapon truly makes a difference. Immediately after, a surge of energy flows through him, raising his level from 5 to 6. Leveling up just from one rat? It seems that along the way, I've leached quite a bit of experience from Lu Cheng. I need to hurry over and help him. He retrieves his arrow, his fighting spirit burning bright. Cheng, this young master is here to help you. But as he neared the boss's lair, the ground began to shake violently. Damn, is the boss so powerful that the entire cave is trembling? Could Cheng be in danger? He sprinted forward at full speed. Don't be afraid, Cheng, I'm coming to save you. However, upon rushing into the cave, the sight before him left him completely stunned. The corpses of numerous awakened were scattered everywhere, and in the center, Zhao Cheng was lifting Hao Li into the air by his throat with a single hand. Is that you, Jia? Zhao Cheng turned around and spoke with a calm tone. Liu Zijia's jaw dropped. Even though he was used to the man's overwhelming power, this seemed a bit excessive. He didn't give this young master any chance to show off at all. Just then, the final boss, the ancient axe Rat King, let out a roar and swung its massive bone axe. The boss launched a sneak attack from behind. Cheng, watch out! Zhao Cheng merely glanced over his shoulder and swung his other hand, his blade tracing a perfect arc that decapitated the boss. You have defeated the level 13 boss, Ancient Axe Rat King. The absolute leadership attribute was activated, and Zhao Cheng leveled up from level 8 to level 10. He gained 2 levels instantly just by slaying the boss. The Eternal Evolution book has been activated. Please select a new attribute. Bronze Sharpness, Bronze Demon Grind, Bronze Dual Mastery, Golden Blast, Golden Explosion, or Radiant Wind Manipulation. The Radiant attribute appeared again. At that moment, another notification popped up. The duration for Limit Break has ended. He was completely exhausted. Zhao Cheng stumbled and collapsed to his knees. Was this a side effect? This skill consumed too much stamina. In his current state, he could only use it once in a short period. Cheng, are you hurt? Liu Zijia rushed over to support him. I'm just a bit drained, Jia. Cheng is only human after all. He always charges into the most dangerous places, but he has his weak moments too, Liu Zijia thought. At times like these, it's my turn to protect him. You can rest easy now. Suddenly, the cave began to shake violently. The dungeon instance was starting to collapse. Liu Zijia recalled that this process was quite slow last time. Cheng needed time to recover, and the situation outside was unknown. If Hao Li and Huang Jun's men were waiting, they would be doomed. He had to buy time, so he hoisted Zhao Cheng onto his back. He headed toward the exit, but small rats appeared along the way. Are there still minions left even after the boss is dead? Liu Zijia raised his crossbow. But this young master is different now. He easily took one down, but immediately after, 3 more, 1 level 6 and 2 level 7, lunged at him. Damn it, not just 1 but 4. He gritted his teeth. Fine, 4 it is. It's time for Liu Zijia to hold the line alone. Cheng, this time it's my turn to protect you. Meanwhile, outside the dungeon, Huang Jun, the level 27 deputy manager of Sector 119, was leisurely sipping tea. The dungeon is collapsing, which means someone has cleared it. Keep a close watch. If the person who emerges isn't one of ours, proceed with the plan. Elsewhere, Hao Li, a level 28, another deputy manager, was also grinning sinisterly. I'm saying the same thing. If they aren't our people, crush their skulls for me. In the medical room of Sector 119, Zhang Dahua was reporting to Jiang Yi. Manager Jiang, everything I've said is the truth. If I'm lying, may I die without a grave. Shut up, Jiang Yi snapped. If you're dead, who will look after your wife and children? Am I the one supporting you? You people exhaust my item vouchers every single time, he said, his voice softening. However, that Zhao Cheng truly possesses a demeanor much like my younger self. There is no way he is just some influential figure's plaything, especially since he knowingly faced the danger inside to let you all escort the wounded out. That is true, manager, Jiang Yi remarked, narrowing his eyes. Perhaps he sensed the extreme peril within and deliberately provided you an exit to ensure your survival. Well, that is certainly a possibility, Zhang Dahua said, scratching his head just as someone rushed over to report that Huang Jun and Hai Li had led their men to blockade the exit. They have declared that anyone emerging who is not one of their own will be killed without mercy, reported the man, while Bai, Jiang Yi's trusted subordinate, sneered at their stupidity. Regardless of who comes out, they are individuals who have passed the company's trial, and the examiner watching from above will never permit such interference, Bai explained, prompting the messenger to ask if they should just do nothing. Brother, Bai said, turning toward Jiang Yi with a more solemn expression. Huang Jun and Hai Li are no fools, so there must be a reason they dare to act so brazenly. They surely have other plans to deal with the company, Zhang Dahua interjected anxiously. Manager Jiang, if that is the case, then won't Zhao Cheng and his companion be in grave danger? If Manager Jiang does not intervene, and we rely solely on the examiner, those two will face true peril, for the company cares little for rules and only values those with utility. Jiang Yi flicked his cigarette ash against a nearby tree, his gaze turning cold as he ordered his men to gather at the exit, vowing to personally protect Zhao Cheng if he was the one to emerge. Thank you, Manager Jiang, Zhang Dahua exclaimed in relief, knowing Jiang Yi's word was his bond, while Bai whispered, asking if he had truly changed his opinion of the boy to make such a public vow. Not yet, but if he manages to walk out alive, then regardless of whose plaything he might be, he will be our best stepping stone to reach the top, Jiang Yi replied. I am only acting for the sake of our future, Jiang Yi stated. But when Bai suggested he actually thought highly of the boy, Jiang Yi snapped at him to shut up or he would rip his mouth apart. Amidst the chaotic space, Zhao Cheng slowly regained consciousness and wondered how long he had been asleep before realizing the dungeon was collapsing and frantically shaking his companion to wake him. The dungeon is about to crumble. We need to leave immediately, he urged. As a blood-stained Liu Zijia weakly opened his eyes and noted with relief that Zhao Cheng had finally woken up. He coughed violently as blood trickled from his mouth, worrying that if they left now, Huang Jun and Hai Li would be waiting at the exit to ensure they never escaped alive. Liu Zijia's health bar was reduced to a mere sliver, yet he boasted that while Zhao Cheng was unconscious, he had carried him and risked his life to defeat 4 steel-clawed rats single-handedly. I told you I would become a king, and I am a man of my word, he claimed, leaving Zhao Cheng to marvel at how the boy had protected him despite being so severely injured himself. Realizing his friend had nearly died to save him, Zhao Cheng asked if he could still walk, but knowing they could not stay, he hoisted his companion onto his back to carry him out. They remained completely ignorant of the situation awaiting them outside, fearing that stepping out might simply mean plunging back into a mountain of blades and a sea of fire. Let's go, he whispered. Even if we face mountains of blades or seas of fire, we brothers will overcome it together. Naturally, Liu Zijia replied, resting his head on his shoulder. He gave a weak smile as the spatial vortex outside began to vibrate, Look, someone is emerging. Is it one of ours? From atop a skyscraper, Guanzu watched through binoculars as a figure appeared in the teleportation vortex. The true survivor was about to emerge. There is no need for such concern, the butler standing beside her remarked. If the one you chose cannot make it out, it simply means he failed to meet your expectations. Furthermore, you shouldn't need to witness such a low-level trial in person. Quiet, she interrupted, her eyes fixed on the binoculars. It is definitely him. She murmured about lineage and nobility before sternly warning him never to speak of such things again. Understood, miss, he replied as the image sharpened. Two battered figures emerged from the spatial vortex, one carrying the other. Guanzu smiled, noting that Zijia was as weak as ever. Chu Cheng has to carry him out again. Below, the members of the Huang Jun and Hai Li factions grew furious. That's not one of ours. Who is that brat? Where are our brothers? Hey kid, are you two the only ones who made it out? Where the hell are my men? One of them roared. Chu Cheng set Liu Zijia down, his cold, steely voice echoing across the square. They are all dead. I killed them. Your brothers were nothing but animals, Liu Chu coughed, yet he still managed to add. I also personally finished off a few of them. A murderous aura instantly filled the air. Who do you two think you are? Since you dared to kill our men, don't expect to leave here alive. Behead them as a sacrifice for our brothers. Huang Jun and Hai Li stepped forward with murderous eyes. Since our men didn't make it, you have no reason to live either. Tear them to pieces, kill them, the crowd roared, charging at the duo. Aside from Huang Jun and Hai Li, the rest were weaker than those he had already slain inside. You trash don't even have the right to enter a dungeon, so what gives you the right to scream at me? Chu Cheng thought. If you're so eager to die, then I shall use you as a whetstone for my new abilities. He raised his hand as energy began to converge. Level 9 attribute, sharpness. Bronze rank, granting a 15% increase in armor penetration. Level 10 attribute, radiant wind manipulation, allowing the summoning and control of gales. He had jumped 2 levels, going straight from level 8 to 10, and his level 10 attribute was a brand new radiant tier power. I'm unsure how powerful it will be once fused, but for now this is more than enough. Activate wind manipulation. A violent vortex suddenly erupted, kicking up blinding dust. Where did this wind come from? Damn it, the sand is in my eyes. But that was only the beginning. Sparks ignited within the cyclone, fanned by the winds into a raging inferno that swallowed the charging mob. Ah, it's burning, put it out. It's too hot, it hurts. Agonizing screams rang out as Huang Jun narrowed his eyes and gripped his sword tightly, saying, You have some skill. This kid is a bit strange, He Li remarked. Is this wind your ability or is it that fire? Which one do you think is mine? Zhao Cheng replied sarcastically. What does it matter to dead men like you? He Li, why waste your breath on him? Huang Jun roared. He's just a brat level 7 or 8 at most. No matter how strong he is, there's a limit. Cheng, put me down, Yi Zai whispered from his back. These two aren't easy to handle. Carrying me like this, you definitely can't win. I know, he replied with strange calmness. But even if I put you down, I still couldn't beat them. Yi Zai's face turned pale upon hearing that. What? Then why were you acting so arrogant? I thought you had some incredible trump card. I don't have any trump cards, he answered. But right now, confronting them openly is the best way for us to show our stance. Show our stance? To whom? From a tall building, Guanzu and her attendant watched. Those two deputy managers are about to make their move. They are both awakened around level 20. Zhao Cheng stands no chance. You want me to intervene, don't you? Don't worry, it's not necessary yet. Guanzu replied, her eyes fixed on the battlefield below. Why? Because the one who needs to act has arrived. Just as she said, Huang Jun and He Li charged forward with murderous intent. You brat, you dared to kill my woman. I'll make sure you're buried with her. My best men all died in there. Your head isn't enough to pay for their lives. Cheng, run quickly, Yi Zai cried out in panic. No need to run, he said. They have arrived. A world-shaking roar echoed from the distance, carrying the terrifying pressure of a fierce tiger as the golden skill, Tiger King's roar, was activated. Everyone stop right now. It's Jiang Wei's ability, Yi Zai cheered. Since we saved so many people, he must have received the news early. I figured as much, Zhao Cheng said. Jiang Wei approached with his subordinates, his aura overwhelming. Zhao Cheng belongs to the company. No one is allowed to touch him. Otherwise, I will take that person's life. Jiang Wei, you finally arrived, Huang Jun growled. What's the matter? Have you been waiting for me for a long time? Of course, He Li sneered. The scene of a manager being overthrown in the past will repeat itself today. You think you can do it with just the two of you? Jiang Wei asked disdainfully. Even if it's just us. Are you certain of your victory? Huang Jun asked confidently. He was only 1 level below Jiang Wei. You and I are at the same level, He Li added even more arrogantly. Brother Jun is even higher ranked than your lackey by wrong. The advantage is ours. Furthermore, we've called for reinforcements from District 173 this time. Jiang Wei, today is the day you all die. Just then, a soldier rushed over in a panic. Manager Jiang, something terrible has happened. Outside the gate, many awakened from Sector 173 were attacking Chu Bai Rong, prompting Jiang Wei to issue a decisive order for everyone to provide immediate support. I will head over as soon as I finish things here, Jiang Wei stated, and after his men acknowledged, he turned to the traders with an icy gaze to ask what they had promised Sector 173. They explained that they had promised Sector 173 3 days of total plunder in Sector 119 if they helped, claiming all resources except for the inhabitants. Hao Li laughed maniacally, declaring he would hack him to death right there, and that the others had no reason to fear a dead man, while Jiang Wei condemned their betrayal of the settlement. At this point, there is nothing we wouldn't dare to do, Huang Jun roared, noting that he remained a deputy manager even after helping overthrow the previous administrator. He complained that even after the previous leader was ousted, his rank never changed, making his efforts feel meaningless since his plans for territorial expansion were always rejected. He added that since no extra resources were ever shared, he had no reason to remain loyal, leading the protagonist to realize that everyone was driven by their own interests. He mused that while Sector 119 would be purged after this battle, Jiang Wei remained the most suitable leader for the sake of the common civilians. Jia Zai whispered his surprise at the number of traitors under Jiang Wei's command, just as Zhang Dehua appeared, calling out to his companions. Zhang Dehua urged the driver to follow him, warning that they would be nothing more than cannon fodder if they stayed near a battle of this magnitude. He promised to lead them to safety, just before a massive explosion struck their previous position, forcing Zhang Dehua to pull them behind a ruined wall for cover. High above, the battle between the powerful elites began with skill effects as dazzling as apocalyptic fireworks, leaving Jia Zai watching in sheer terror. He observed the natural elemental attributes of lightning and earth flow. Since Huang Jun controlled earth, he wondered about the nature of Manager Jiang's green flames. When he asked, Zhang Dehua replied with awe that it was the legendary radiant attribute, noting that while its true power was unknown, Manager Jiang had once spoken of its origins. He explained it came from the netherworld hellfire, a rare radiant attribute that Jia Zai found hard to believe only 1 in 10,000 possessed, which Zhang Dehua confirmed. He mentioned reading ancient texts, which claimed the world's current state was caused by someone in the primordial era accidentally awakening the first radiant attribute. It had decimated the most prosperous human civilization, causing Jia Zai to turn toward Cheng Zai with eyes shining with excitement. Believed that with such power, Cheng Zai's healing and their rise to fame would be guaranteed, perhaps even allowing them to rebuild civilization, a thought that left the protagonist deep in reflection. He realized that the radiant attribute within him didn't seem to possess such mythical strength, concluding that there must be varying levels of power even within the same attribute class. However, with the Eternal Evolution book, he might one day wield such terrifying power, though he wondered if an attribute capable of destroying the world might eventually consume its host. Can that power truly be mastered by a mere human? Hai Li roared at Jiang Yi, leveling his blade at his sworn enemy. Do not assume your radiant attribute makes you invincible, for mine is not merely for show. He triggered the bronze giant's second ability, Gold, causing his muscles to swell and his skin to harden into solid bronze. He transformed into a true titan, proving that even within the gold attribute, power levels vary. I will crush you into a bloody pulp. Anyone standing in the way of my expansion shall perish. Confronted by Hai Li's monstrous form, Jiang Yi merely offered a lethal smirk, questioning if he alone was enough. You are far from worthy of taking my place. Ethereal nether flames erupted from his body, incinerating everything in the vicinity. Hai Li howled in agony as the flames licked his bronze skin, yet he continued his desperate charge. Before you burn me to ash, I will drag you down to hell with me. Is Jiang Yi a fool? Liu Zi watched from a distance, filled with anxiety as he wondered why the man refused to dodge such a reckless strike. The victor remains undecided because he is currently distracted. Zhao Cheng is pushing past his limits to provide support to his comrade. Indeed, a portion of Jiang Yi's nether flames was entangling Huang Jun to stop him from reaching Bai Rong, another deputy manager trapped by an earth flow technique. Bai Rong, these pathetic sparks cannot save you. Huang Jun sneered, noting that the higher the level, the greater the disparity in power. Use your final moments to learn this lesson and die, you lapdog of Jiang Yi. Jagged earthen spikes erupted from the ground, aimed directly at Bai Rong's heart. Jiang Yi roared, manifesting a wall of fire to intercept them, but it seemed futile. Fire cannot restrain the earth, Huang Jun mocked. Realizing his end was near, Bai Rong cried out that he had no regrets in this life. I have no regrets following you. Just as the earthen spikes were about to impale him, A dark figure lunged forward like a bolt of lightning, slashing through the air. Razor-sharp sword strikes shattered the spikes as Zhao Cheng made his entrance. Bai Rong stood frozen, unable to believe what he was seeing. Zhao Cheng, how did you gain such power? You hadn't even reached level 10 yesterday. This form cannot be maintained for long, Zhao Cheng replied urgently. Help me finish Huang Jun right now. Bai Rong nodded, pushing his questions aside as he sensed a sudden rush of wind. Someone was approaching. Huang Jun spun around, forced to use his staff to parry a relentless pincer attack from both sides. Bai Rong, how are you still alive? That brat saved you. Zhao Cheng delivered a devastating punch that forced Huang Jun to retreat, allowing Bai Rong to seize the opening and unleash a flurry of sword strikes. Deep gashes were carved into Huang Jun's body. How dare you wound me? I will have your lives for this. Meanwhile, in another location, Zhang Dahua was fleeing with Liu Zi on his back. Put me down, I have to help Zhao Cheng. Are you insane? Even our leader can barely protect himself right now. If you go, we'll only die together. But Liu Zijia ignored him and frantically bit Chang Dahuo's hand. Ow, young man, I was wrong, I'm sorry. Outside the gates of District 119, the battle was reaching a brutal climax. They even possessed ancient firearms. Brothers, hold the line. We just need to last until Manager Jiang arrives. We will win. Tian Huagang, the level 27 manager of District 173, was leading the charge. Break through the walls. Once we're in, you can do whatever you please. From a high-rise building, Guanzu spoke anxiously to the butler beside her. Are you still not going to act? Zhu Cheng has passed the trial and is now considered part of the company. Do you not intend to protect them? My lady, please wait a little longer. The butler replied in a calm voice. Wait, District 119 is about to be leveled by the invaders. Do you know the true purpose of this trial, my lady? To select talent for the company, isn't it? The butler shook his head. It is to weaken the strength of the residential districts and deplete their number of Awakens. For the stability of the continent, the more powerful people there are, the more trouble they cause. The Shan Company knew about the internal conflicts in District 119, so they deliberately arranged the trial here. How can that be? Guanzu was shocked. The company is already powerful enough. My lady, if we wanted to, we could allow all the people to live in prosperity. But if we did that, why would they still need the company? Would joining still be a supreme honor? Letting them fight and slaughter each other is the best way to maintain order. But if this continues, even if Zhu Cheng wins, the innocent people of District 119 will all die. Am I supposed to just stand here and watch? You could use your status as the legitimate daughter of the Guan family to command me. However, doing so would violate the regulations for superiors set by the 5 great families. Do you still wish to proceed? Guanzu hesitated, knowing the price she would have to pay. Violating Article 9, excessive interference in the life and death of civilians outside your territory. The family will have a massive amount of resources confiscated, and you will be placed under house arrest for 30 days. This confinement will cause you to be left far behind by the younger generation of other families, the butler reminded her. Eldest miss, you must understand which matters take priority. Guanzu clenched her fists, falling into a violent internal struggle. On one side were the lives of thousands, and on the other were her own future and status. At that moment, the sounds of screaming and destruction reached Guanzu's ears. A subordinate rushed in frantically to report. Eldest miss, the main gate of District 119 has been breached. At the gate, Tian Huagang, the leader of District 173, laughed savagely. Charge in, loot the resources, the vouchers, and the food. Take the women. I'm going to have every woman in District 119. His men swarmed in like a pack of wild beasts, spreading terror as the defenseless citizens fled in a panic. The main gate is broken. Run. The tyrants have broken in. Tian Huagang quickly grabbed a woman who was trying to flee. Where are you going, beauty? Let old Tian show you some affection. Hand over your vouchers or I'll cut you down. Don't even think about hiding anything. Smash all their houses. Witnessing those hellish scenes, Guanzu's eyes turned cold. She made a decision that she knew would deeply disappoint her strict father. I, Guanzu, in my capacity as the eldest daughter of the Guan family, order you to expel every invader from Sector 173, even if it breaches the protocols of the high-ranking. I shall have no regrets. Understood, eldest miss, a dark shadow replied quietly before dissolving into the air. Father will surely be very disappointed. He will think I am someone who acts purely on impulse, but he will understand in time. For now, I must go help Zhao Cheng. She then leaped down from the heights. Does the eldest miss still intend to assist that Zhao boy? If such a merciful and soft-hearted person becomes a superior, will the Guan family decline under her rule? Regardless, I am a death warrior of the Guan family. My master's command is my mission. He raised his hand, and a massive cyclone suddenly manifested amidst the crowd in Sector 173, sucking them into the air and tearing them to pieces. What on earth is this? Whoever provoked the eldest miss deserves no mercy. Meanwhile, on a different battlefield, Huang Jun was easily suppressing Bai Rong and Zhao Cheng. One is a level 7 piece of trash, the other is level 10. Do not think for a moment that you are my equals. I will ensure you all perish here. This is bad, Bai Rong thought to himself. Neither his nor Zhao Cheng's attacks were strong enough to penetrate the man's earthen flow defense. If this continues, they will both surely be defeated. Huang Jun had also sustained several injuries. He panted heavily, as maintaining his peak combat state had drained a significant amount of his stamina. Zhao Cheng Bai Rong gritted his teeth. This has nothing to do with you, so do not die here. He activated his attribute, and his sword-swinging speed surged. Bronze tier sword mastery. Sword speed and damage increased by 15%. Bai Rong, you are on the verge of death, yet still worry about others. Huang Jun sneered. Your innate attribute is only at the bronze tier. Otherwise, you might have actually caused me some trouble. Activate. Gold tier extreme speed, velocity increased by 30%. I have activated extreme speed. You cannot keep up with me. This is the disparity in our ranks. Huang Jun's speed accelerated. His sword strikes were so rapid that Bai Rong could not parry them all, and new wounds continuously appeared on his body. My level is too low. There is no chance if I keep fighting like this. Now he has entered a desperate state. Perhaps I can exploit the opening Bai Rong creates. What must I do to win? Zhao Cheng observed the battle, his gaze suddenly landing on a pile of rubble nearby. Just then, Zhang Dahu arrived, carrying the dying Liu Zijia on his back. Big brother, the young lad forced me to come here. I had no choice. Without another word, Liu Zijia used his final ounce of strength to activate his weakness discernment eyes and shouted, Cheng, strike the man surnamed Huang on his left side. Hearing this, Zhang Dahua marveled inwardly, truly admiring the trust between them. With just a single word, his big brother charged forward without hesitation. Of course, Liu Zijia muttered before losing consciousness. I am so exhausted. Forcing the activation of my ability has completely drained my energy. On the left side, using every attribute. With a single strike, Zhao Cheng poured everything he had into it. Activate, head-crushing blow. Activate, flame binding. Activate, Nova Reset. Activate, overlimit technology and limit break. The power of his 3 attributes was enhanced by 600%. His body erupted with energy as he lunged forward with lightning speed. Huang Jun was still focused on Bai Rong. You are exhausted, now die? He swung a finishing blow, but Zhao Cheng's speed was even faster. A flash of the blade struck Huang Jun's left flank, exactly at the weak point Liu Zijia had identified. With a slash, the victor was decided. How could I be? By something like you? Huang Jun could not believe it. The blade traced an arc, cleaving Huang Jun's body in two after delivering that devastating attack. Zhao Cheng's body was completely drained, causing him to stumble and collapse, but Bai Rong caught him just in time as Guan Zhu arrived. Having witnessed that spectacular finishing blow, she realized Zhao Cheng had defeated a level 20 Awakened despite being only level 7 when they last met. Just how brilliant of a genius is he? Seeing her, Bai Rong hurriedly addressed the examiner. No need for formalities, Guan Zhu said, stepping forward to declare him the winner of this assessment, though her high status usually meant she wouldn't favor a rookie. Bai Rong assumed she had seen plenty of talented recruits, but to his surprise, Guan Zhu took the initiative and told him to hand the boy over while manager Jiang finished his fight. She told him to see if he could assist elsewhere, so Bai Rong nodded and left as Guan Zhu gently supported the unconscious Zhao Cheng. With a look of both anxiety and joy, she softly brushed the sweat and blood from his hair and whispered that they had finally met again, Cheng. Bai Rong stood frozen in disbelief, staring at the scene and wondering what kind of connection existed between the examiner and Zhao Cheng. He had never seen an examiner treat a recruit this way, and his shock peaked when the high-ranking Guan Zhu actually bent down to carry the unconscious Zhao Cheng on her back. Bai Rong's world crumbled as he wondered if Zhao Cheng was some dignitary's pretty boy. Yet he couldn't fathom why such a powerful woman would personally carry him. Manager Jiang, you truly misjudged him this time. A voice echoed as the battle in the sky between Hao Li and Jiang Wei reached its conclusion. With a voice as cold as ice, he declared that no one was left to interfere and that he would now claim his opponent's head. Hao Li roared that Jiang Wei shouldn't assume victory yet, though his voice betrayed his exhaustion, while Jiang Wei remained silent. Green nether flames erupted from his hand, transforming into a roaring dragon as he unleashed the infernal flame slash to consume the talkative Hao Li. The hellish fire incinerated everything in its path, and amidst agonizing screams, the traitor was reduced to nothing but a charred skeleton as the battle ended. Bai Rong rushed over to inform manager Jiang that Zhao Cheng had helped kill Huang Jun, but Jiang Wei simply told him to head toward the main gate. He explained that the intruders from Sector 173 had already been dealt with, and that his urgent news was actually regarding Zhao Cheng. Jiang Wei frowned and asked about his condition, but his composure vanished once Bai Rong recounted the full details of what had transpired. Jiang Wei asked if it was true that the examiner had carried him, and Bai Rong confirmed it, noting that Zhao Cheng had not only killed Huang Jun, but also shared a deep bond with her. He clearly had an incredibly close relationship with the company's examiner, as no high-ranking figure would ever care so much about the life or death of a mere pretty boy. Zhao Cheng's true background likely surpasses our wildest expectations. Perhaps he is the secret offspring of some high-ranking official. Bai Rong proposed a daring theory, to which Jiang Wei muttered in agreement, his gaze flickering with a complicated light as he realized the boy might ascend to heights far beyond his own. He could accomplish what I cannot, provided I can plant a seed of influence within him. Meanwhile, in a tidy and cozy room, he suddenly jolted awake. He instinctively sprang into a defensive posture, wondering where he was, just as Yi Zai's familiar voice called out, noting that Cheng had finally awakened. Yi Zai offered him a bite of a snack made from mutated cassava from Sector 226, claiming it tasted like home, prompting him to ask where they currently were. They were still in Sector 119 within an examiner's shelter. Yi Zai explained between mouthfuls of food, mentioning that he had been unconscious for 3 full days. He wondered if this 3-day slumber was a side effect of forcing the radiant fusion, while Yi Zai insisted he try the snack since they had even added real brown sugar to it. It was genuine brown sugar, Yi Zai emphasized, just as the door clicked open and a familiar figure entered, asking if he was awake, which caused him to look up in surprise. He could hardly believe his eyes as the scene unfolded. That concludes this video, so please like to support the channel, and thank you all for watching.